Chapter 731. After receiving Lin Rei's message, Xiefeng shook her head with a bitter smile. She muttered to herself, I didn't expect that I, a Saint Realm expert and the clan leader of the ancient Phoenix tribe, will become a professional fighter for a godly realm junior. If the saints of the ancient era knew about this, they would be so shocked that they would crawl out of their graves. However, even so, Xiefeng still did as she was told. The talent that Lin Rei displayed and the speed at which he improved his cultivation were too terrifying. This would be a great help for her revenge. Most importantly, she had a good impression of Lin Rei. Feeling the rolling thunderclouds in the sky, Xiefeng curled the corner of her mouth and showed a trace of disdain. She walked out of the room and looked up at the thunderclouds in the sky. Actually, Fei Hong was nothing in front of her. Lord of the ancient Phoenix tribe, break for me. Her voice was very loud, but no one in Xiong City heard it. However, at this moment, the thunderclouds that were forming in the sky were slowly releasing a pressure that made people's souls tremble. However, with Xiefeng's shout, the thunderclouds disappeared inexplicably. When they came, they were loud and powerful, but when they left, they were silent. Huh, at least you know what's good for you. Xiefeng nodded and muttered. At this moment, the people in Xiong City couldn't stay calm. One should know that the thunderclouds had just formed, but now they disappeared inexplicably. At this moment, some of the higher-ups of the top forces thought of several possibilities. First, it was dispelled by an expert. Second, the supreme grade divine artifact was destroyed and the thunderclouds disappeared inexplicably. At this moment, the higher-ups subconsciously chose the latter. The divine artifact was destroyed because of intelligence. If the thunderclouds were dispelled by force, how powerful must the person be? This was something that they didn't allow and didn't want to see. However, this was the truth. Xiefeng's strength was something that they could never reach in their lifetime. Even if they succeeded one day, by then, Xiefeng would be standing at a higher position. For a time, this matter became the topic of discussion for the people of Jade City. It became a topic of discussion for the people of Jade City, and it became a contrast to the alchemy conference. Lin Rei had no idea what was going on outside. At this moment, he was hugging the supreme grade divine artifact that he had refined happily. In the room, Lin Rei was hugging the supreme grade divine artifact that he had forged himself. There was an indescribable joy on his face. My current equipment refinement realm is already at the perfection stage of the Exalt realm. If I work hard and attain the Saint realm, then, when he thought of this, Lin Rei couldn't help but fantasize. He fantasized about being able to refine a Saint-level Dharma artifact, and so on. Bang! A strange sound immediately pulled Lin Rei back to reality. At this moment, he hurriedly put away his smile and returned to his usual calm expression. Bang! A strange sound rang out again. For the first time, Lin Rei realized that someone was trying to break through the array formation that he had set up outside. Interesting. Who is it? At this moment, he really wanted to see who was so bold as to break through the array that he had set up. There were generally two ways to break an array formation. First, one could find the eye of the array. However, this method was generally not understood by ordinary people except for the same array formation master. The second method was to break it with force. Just like the mysterious person outside at this moment, she was breaking it with force. She wanted to use absolute force to break the array formation that was set up by an Exalt Realm expert. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was slightly interested, opened the door and took a look. In an instant, Lin Rei was stunned on the spot. At this moment, the person who had broken through the array formation was none other than Xiefeng. Seeing her break through the array formation with interest, Lin Rei suddenly felt a headache coming on. He knew how powerful the evil phoenix was. With a casual wave of her hand, she would be able to break through the formation he had broken. And this was through brute force. But Linley didn't understand why she had to do this, even though she clearly knew how to set up formations. Maybe it was because it was too boring. Lin Rei hurriedly threw this thought to the back of his mind. Then, he withdrew the array formation. Xiefeng also appeared at the door. Xiefeng, what are you doing? Are you deliberately causing trouble? Lin Rei was speechless. I have nothing to do. Don't worry. I just wanted to see how big your array formation was. I didn't want to break it. You can rest assured. Lin Rei was even more speechless after hearing this. She didn't want to break the array formation, but just now, she clearly saw that his array formation was on the verge of collapse. This, however, Lin Rei's frown was exposed. He immediately echoed, "Yes, yes, yes." As he spoke, Lin Rei walked to the side. Next to him was Chu Si's room. He had prepared the pill furnace that he had refined and handed it over to her. There were less than 2 hours left until the alchemy conference. Looking at the time, Lin Rei heaved a sigh of relief. He was indescribably happy. At the same time, he was very happy that he had refined a top-grade divine artifact. "Hey, where are you going?" "I came here to see the divine artifact that you refined. If you leave, what am I going to see?" Xiefeng couldn't help but say as she watched Lin Rei walk away step by step. Looking at Lin Rei's back, Xiefeng's eyes flashed with a trace of disappointment. However, Lin Rei didn't notice this at all. At this moment, Lin Rei's only thought was to give heaven and earth Huayu to Chu Si. This was the thing that he wanted to do the most right now. Lin Rei was very close to Chu Si's room. They were only separated by a wall. Arriving at the door, he knocked and said, "Chu Si, Jia." In less than 3 breaths of time, the door opened and Lin Rei looked at Lin Rei with a solemn expression. Her eyes were filled with respect and admiration. "Young master, please come in." Chu Si made an inviting gesture and bowed respectfully. Okay." In response, Lin Rei smiled and stepped into the room. After arriving at the place where he was sitting, he sat down. With a bang, the door was closed. Chu Si quickly walked over to Lin Rei. She didn't speak anymore. Looking at her, Lin Rei nodded and said, "Before, I said that I would give you an alchemy furnace. I wanted to wait until after this, but after thinking about it, you're about to participate in the alchemy conference. During this period of time, you've been using my heaven and earth Huayu to barely refine pills with 5 patterns. Of course, most of them will still fail. So, in order to prevent you from dying too early in the alchemy conference, I refined the heaven and earth Huayu again last night and finally raised its grade to the peak of the late divine tool stage. It's only 1 step away from perfection. The ancient said that a single thought could lead one to heaven and hell. A single thought could lead one to Buddha, and a single thought could lead one to devil. It was only a single thought, but it was like a chasm between heaven and earth. Dong, after saying that, a huge cauldron with 3 purple lights appeared. At this moment, Chu Si was dumbfounded. At the same time, she was bathed in a sea of happiness. Looking at the heaven and earth Huayu in front of her, Chu Si's heart was filled with anticipation and desire. At this moment, she couldn't wait to refine pills and see the effects of this cauldron. Hee. Seeing the desire in Chu Si's eyes, Lin Rei smiled and said, "All right, we don't have time to wait for you to get used to it. Quickly, drip your blood on it, and let's go to the alchemy conference. It's about to start." "Yes, young master." Hearing this, Chu Si nodded repeatedly. She walked up to the heaven and earth Huayu and squeezed out a drop of blood from her finger. Then, she dripped it on the heaven and earth Huayu. At this moment, the moment Chu Si's blood touched the heaven and earth Huayu, a purple light rushed into Chu Si's mind, carrying all the information of the heaven and earth Huayu. The heaven and earth Huayu was forged by heaven and earth. Later, Lin Rei used the illusory spirit blood fire to refine it into a supreme divine tool. The current heaven and earth Huayu has a 20% success rate when refining pills. After receiving the information and examining it, Chu Si couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Her face was filled with shock. A 20% success rate. She had never heard of such a probability. How could she not be excited about such a furnace? How could she not be excited? How could she not be excited? How could she not forget about herself? Seeing the shock and excitement on Chu Si's face, Lin Rei couldn't help but raise his head with a proud expression. However, thinking about the alchemy conference, Lin Rei immediately said, Let's go to the alchemy conference." Bring me the first place this time. Eh. Ha, okay. Seeing her young master like this, Chu Si was stunned for a moment, then nodded in agreement. If the chance of winning the first place was 60% before, then the chance now was 90%. With that said, the two of them walked out of the room and soared into the sky, rushing towards the Alchemy Guild. It could be said that Linley was very familiar with the Alchemist Guild. Within a few minutes, he had arrived, and this was after Linley had lowered his speed. Otherwise, he would have arrived in an instant. Above the Alchemy Guild, Lin Ray, who had just arrived, looked at the sea of people below and frowned. His face was filled with contemplation. "Young master, what's wrong?" Chu Si asked. No, nothing. Let's go." With that said, he brought Chu Si to the Alchemy Guild. After showing the Danzong Sect's president, they entered the Alchemy Guild without any obstructions. The current state of the Alchemy Guild was different from the outside. There was a sea of people outside, but it was different inside. The atmosphere was very heavy, and the smell of gunpowder was very thick. It was as if a war could break out at any time, causing the deities to tense up. "We've arrived at the Danzong Sect." Just as Lin Ray and Chu Si entered the Alchemy Guild, a sudden voice rang out. Instantly, everyone's gaze fell on Lin Ray and Chu Si standing at the entrance. Looking at everyone's gazes, Lin Ray's face was calm, as if he didn't see them at all. He said to Chu Si, "Remember, you've only made the worldly splendor recognize you as its master. You haven't really controlled it yet. So, the main thing you need to do when you return this time is to completely refine the worldly splendor. Then, quickly go into seclusion. Like I said before, don't come out until you become a lower zone level alchemist. Oh, right? You only have 100 years. At this moment, everyone saw that Lin Ray didn't have any intention of giving them a chance. Immediately, they all pointed their spears at Lin Ray and Chu Si. Oh, they've really fallen behind. I didn't expect the Danzong Sect to only send 2 kids. It seems like they can no longer bear the title of one of the 7 sections. It's time for a change. Right at this moment, a slightly chubby old man with a white beard and a sharp, unkind look on his face suddenly stood up and spoke to Linley and Bibi, and this old man was one of those eyes. At this moment, he was very unhappy with Lin Ray and Chu Si. He didn't expect to be ignored. He was not the only one. Beside him, there was an extremely thin and small old man. His eyes were shining, and the majestic spiritual energy in his body was being suppressed. When he saw the fat old man stand up, he immediately followed suit and said, "Senior brother, don't worry. Yes, the juniors nowadays don't know anything. Really, yes, it seems that the Danzong Sect has really declined. They actually sent 2 kids here." At this moment, one of the 2 old men stood up. Immediately, everyone present began to point at Lin Ray and Chu Si. Their faces were full of disdain, and their eyes were full of ridicule and disgust. "You all." Chu Si heard all the discussions of the crowd. For a moment, Chu Si's face turned cold. He released his middle-stage God-Emperor cultivation, and a terrifying pressure immediately pressed down on everyone present. What? This? In just a short moment, those old men who mocked Lin Ray and Chu Si felt the terrifying aura released by the people from the Danzong Sect. Everyone was stunned. Their eyes were full of disbelief and shock. They didn't expect such a young person to have such a terrifying aura. And those who were able to come here were all God Emperors. They were also elders and leaders of the 7 sects and 1st and 2nd grade sections. I don't care what sect you are from. Remember, don't talk about my young master. If I hear it again, the consequences will be the same as his. Chu Si's expression was ice cold as he pointed at the fat old man who had opened his mouth first. Immediately, a murderous aura charged out. His body flashed and instantly disappeared from the spot. His entire body was just like a ghost as he completely disappeared from this place. What? This sudden scene stunned everyone present. They didn't expect this young man in front of them to kill so decisively. Brat, our cultivations are about the same, and I've been a middle-stage God Emperor for a long time. I can only say that you are very stupid to want to fight with me." The plump old man sneered. He then moved, but at this moment, just as his face was filled with disdain and his mouth was cursing, a figure appeared behind him. This figure was Chu Si. At this moment, Chu Si held a cold sword against the neck of the plump old man. The aura of death spread across the entire body of the plump old man. Remember, don't stand out in your next life. Don't look down on others, because there are some people you can't afford to offend. Pu Si. One could see a blood sword shooting out from the neck of the plump old man. How was this possible? It was just a moment. The plump old man didn't even have time to react. He felt his life force rapidly flowing away. The cultivation of these two seems to be at the same level. To be able to kill him in a single move, what kind of strength is this? Chapter 732. Chu Si's decisiveness was ruthless, causing everyone present to fall into silence and into deep fear. Everyone present was self-aware. They all knew that their strength was comparable to the fat old man. Even though some were slightly stronger, they were only slightly stronger. Facing an expert who could kill a middle-stage god emperor in a single move, how could they be impudent? All of you, if I hear any malicious words about my young master from your mouths, then the next time it will not be as simple as killing. No matter how powerful your sects are, you must believe that I have the ability to make your sects disappear from this world completely. I will do what I say. See, once these words were spoken, everyone could not help but take in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with fear, shock, and disbelief. They had never thought that a sect that had always prided itself on refining pills would actually have such combat strength. Furthermore, he was so young. They could not help but reevaluate their understanding of the sect at the bottom of the 7 sections. At this moment, no one dared to place the Danzong sect at the bottom of the 7 sections. All right, Chu Si, we are here to participate in the pill refining competition. There's no need to make things so awkward, right? At this moment, Lin Rei, who had been silent all this while, finally spoke. Once these words were spoken, everyone looked at him with gratitude. They were currently in a difficult situation. Now that Lin Rei said these words, it was clear that he was giving them a way out. Immediately, everyone laughed in agreement. Yes. Yes. Just now. I was the one who was waiting for you. Please don't take offense. After saying that, the thin old man hurriedly came forward and took out a jade box from his storage ring. He bowed respectfully and handed it to Lin Rei. With a trembling voice, he said respectfully that, Dao friend, I have offended you previously. This is a bottle of flame stones. As a pill refiner, you should know its effects. It can be used to refine the flame fire pill. Please accept it. Once these words were spoken, everyone present looked at him strangely. Their eyes were filled with disdain, but at the same time, they were filled with admiration. Because this was what they wanted to do. For these people who had been in high positions for many years, they especially cherished their lives. Moreover, in their minds, they would rather be on good terms with such an expert than offend him. CK, I was too late. That old brat is really. At this time, another person who was also watching could not help but roar in his heart when he saw this skinny old man in such a state. How can I accept this? Lin Rei naturally knew about the flame stone. Moreover, coincidentally, he was in need of such an item. Moreover, the flame pill was a saint-grade elixir. Not only could it improve one's physical body, it could also increase one's cultivation. For the current Lin Rei, it was just what he needed. Lin Rei had a smile on his face as he watched the skinny and small man press the flame stone. Although he said that he was embarrassed, he had already taken the flame stone. When he received it, Lin Rei could feel the strength of the skinny old man's hand. He was very reluctant to part with it, but he had no choice. Of course, Lin Rei naturally did not refuse this gift. The skinny old man laughed and hurriedly said, Fellow Taoist, this old man is the 6th elder of the Rain Sect. It is truly my fortune to meet you today. I hope that you will have the opportunity to visit my rain sect. Yu Qing Kong, will definitely treat you well as a good host. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. When he heard the last sentence, Lin Ray was stunned. Similarly, not only was Lin Ray stunned, everyone present was stunned because this sentence had many meanings. All right, fellow Taoist you, this lord will definitely go to the Rain sect. At that time, I hope that fellow Taoist you will guide me. In the eyes of others, this was Lin Ray being polite. However, it was not. For another mission, Lin Ray just happened to be able to use their Rain sect. Good. Yu Qing Kong will definitely wait for fellow Taoist's arrival. After saying that, Yu Qing Kong retreated to the side with a smile on his face and did not say anything else. Fellow Taoist, I am Zhuge Ho of the Sword Sect. This lord obtained this in a secret realm. It is useless to me. At this time, as soon as Yu Qing Kong left, a middle-aged man walked up with a jade box in his hand. Seeing this, Lin Ray was stunned for a moment. However, the moment his divine sense swept over the jade box, the system spoke. Kid, hurry up and bring it over. With it, the system can be upgraded again. At that time, even more powerful things will be unlocked. Hurry up. What? Hearing this, Lin Ray was shocked. He could not help but covet the jade box in Zhuge Ho's hand. Because this was related to the system's upgrade, Lin Ray naturally would not let it go. Even if Zhuge Ho did not give it to him, Lin Ray would think of a way to get it. Even if he had to snatch it, he would not hesitate. Hurry up, you must get it. Remember, no matter the cost, even if you have to kill it. At this moment, he could feel the system's terrifying murderous intent. At this moment, the system was serious. All right, Lin Ray replied. Then, he came back to his senses and looked at the jade box in Zhuge Ho's hand with a burning gaze. In the next moment, everything around him seemed to disappear, including Zhuge Ho. At this moment, in Lin Ray's world, only the jade box was left at this time. Zhuge Ho did not know that Lin Ray was so fond of the jade box in his hand that he had the urge to kill him. However, because of his eyes, his heart was still beating like a drum. Brother Lin Ray, I like this item of yours. How about this? I will not let you lose out. Tell me, what do you want? As long as I, Lin Ray, can do it, even if it's a star, I will get it for you. Oh, you must be joking. At this moment, Zhuge Ho was overjoyed. To be honest, he was not sure whether the item in the jade box was good or not. This was because ever since he obtained it, he had studied it for thousands of years. However, he still could not find anything. Originally, he wanted to try his luck, but he did not expect to get it right. Brother Lin, you can take this item. It's his honor that this item can help you. After saying that, Zhuge Ho handed the item to Lin Ray. Okay, Lin Ray was determined to get the item in front of him. Therefore, he did not feel embarrassed and immediately took it and sent it into the system. Looking at Zhuge Ho, Lin Ray thought for a moment. Then, he took out a high-grade divine weapon from his storage ring and handed it to Zhuge Ho. He said, Brother Zhuge, the item you gave me is very important to me, but I will not let you lose out. This is the Ice Frost Sword. I casually refined it in my spare time. Please don't dislike it. What? This is a high-grade divine weapon? At this moment, Zhuge Ho's eyes widened and he was shocked. In the realm of the gods, high-grade divine weapons were only owned by the sect leaders of the major sections. As for supreme-grade divine weapons, they were regarded as the most precious treasures of the sections. Now, the young man in front of him casually took out a high-grade divine weapon and refined it casually. At this moment, Zhuge Ho knew that his actions just now were very clear and worth it. Yes, why? You don't like it? Seeing Zhuge Ho's reaction, Lin Ray quickly said, How about this? When the alchemy conference is over, I will refine a supreme-grade divine weapon for you. How about this? Hiss. As soon as Lin Ray said this, everyone present couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. Their faces were filled with shock and disbelief. In the sect, only the high elders were permitted to use a top-grade divine artifact. Not even the sect leader was permitted to use one. But now a blind young man was giving one away so easily. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Although they still did not believe it, seeing a high-grade divine weapon casually gave away made them feel at ease. At this moment, Zhuge was so excited that he laughed. Although he did not believe that Lin Rei could really refine a supreme-grade divine weapon, he was full of expectations for Lin Rei. If it's possible. Originally, Zhuge wanted to refuse, but it was a supreme-grade divine weapon. Under such temptation, Zhuge did not refuse. Well, in that case, when the alchemy conference is over, you can go back with me. Anyway, I have a friend with the surname Zhuge. Maybe you two know each other. Oh. At this moment, Zhuge was also looking forward to it. Well, in that case, let's hurry up and get ready. The conference is about to start. Seeing that the time had come, Lin Rei said. Then, he found a quiet place with few people and sat down. As for Zhuge, he followed Lin Rei to a place and sat side by side with him. As for the sword master, when he saw Zhuge, he quickly stood up and stood behind him respectfully. Look, it's Lu Yu from the Alchemy Guild. The middle-grade Grandmaster Alchemist is here. Right at this moment, as soon as Lin Li sat down, a strange sound suddenly rang out, and within this strange sound, a name attracted everyone's attention. Lu Yu. Of course, Lin Rei was familiar with this name. Wasn't this the old man who had exchanged the Eye of Tendo for the 9 revolving water cloud pill? Looking at the expectant and admiring eyes of the crowd, Lin Rei could not help but shake his head and sigh. And Lin Rei's action was noticed by Zhuge, who was beside him, and suddenly he was shocked. One should know that everyone present was looking forward to Lu Yu, including him. However, Lin Rei did not have any expression of anticipation at all. In fact, Zhuge even saw a trace of disdain at the corner of Lin Rei's mouth. At this moment, his curiosity about Lin Rei was even stronger. Master Lu Yu, this alchemy conference, what do you think will be big? Just as everyone was asking Lu Yu questions, Lu Yu's eyes swept around. When his eyes swept over Lin Rei in an empty corner, Lu Yu could not help but say, "Big." But just as the word big came out of his mouth, Lin Rei frowned and immediately transmitted a message to stop him. "Shut up. I don't want others to know who I am." Hearing this, Lu Yu's face lit up, and he quickly changed his words. His eyes revealed a smile as he said to the crowd, "Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Alchemy Conference organized by the Alchemy Guild." Clap, clap, clap. There was a round of applause, and some people even whistled. Good. Most of the alchemists here have been nurtured by the various sects with all their might. So this time, there will be a change in the reward for the first place. Lu Yu looked at the crowd with a mysterious smile. What is it, Master Lu Yu? Hurry up and say it. What is the reward for the first place? That's right, Master Lu Yu. Hurry up and say it. The flowers have withered from waiting. At this moment, everyone's curiosity was completely piqued by Lu Yu. Seeing that everyone was so curious, Lu Yu chuckled and said, "Well, since everyone is curious, I won't hide it. This alchemy conference is divided into 3 rounds. The first round is a knockout competition. The participants will refine a middle-grade royal-grade elixir. Whoever can refine the best middle-grade royal-grade elixir will win. The second round is a duel. The winner will challenge the other person to an alchemy competition. Just like the previous round, whoever refines the best elixir will win. The third round will be held by the last person to refine the elixir according to the specified elixir. Similarly, whoever refines the best elixir will be the final winner. The final winner will receive a supreme grade divine artifact, 10,000 cauldrons, a purple bamboo vine, and a chance to enter the Alchemy Guild. The Alchemy Guild will do its best to nurture the winner. What? This? At this moment, when Lu Yu mentioned the first place's reward, everyone couldn't remain calm. Even Zhuge, who was sitting beside Lin Rei, couldn't remain calm. In everyone's eyes, whether it was a supreme grade divine artifact, elixir, or a chance to enter the Alchemy Guild, any one of these 3 things would make everyone envious. As for Lin Rei, he was stunned when he heard the rewards. Lin Rei didn't care about the supreme grade divine artifact and the chance to enter the Alchemy Guild. However, Lin Rei was slightly interested in the elixir. After all, Elixirs were rare in the divine world. Now that he needed to increase his cultivation, the divine world's elixirs couldn't satisfy his needs. All right, let's not talk nonsense. It's time. Let the alchemy conference officially begin. There are 16 alchemists participating in the alchemy competition. Hurry up and enter. As he spoke, 16 middle-aged men and women walked into the alchemy guild. The 16 of them looked at their opponents with arrogance and disdain. Surprisingly, Chu Si's figure was among them. However, unlike the others who were secretly competing with each other, Chu Si had her eyes tightly shut as she concentrated on calming her mind. She planned to use her best state of mind to face the upcoming challenge. Lu Yu, who was now in charge, looked at the 16 alchemists and smiled. He said, "All right, let's not talk nonsense. Everyone, let's begin." Dong, dong, dong. At his command, the 16 alchemists took out their alchemy furnaces. In an instant, the entire alchemy guild was filled with jewels and jewels. What? That's... Just as the jewels and jewels were shining, a person with strong eyesight stared blankly at the purple alchemy furnace next to one of the 16 alchemists. What's wrong? At this moment, the person who was sitting with the person who spoke asked immediately, "Quick, quick, look over there." Without turning his head, he pointed at the place where Chu Si was sitting. His voice was trembling and his face was filled with excitement. What? The old man turned his head impatiently and looked in the direction he was pointing at. In the next moment, the old man's eyes were filled with shock, disbelief, and excitement. Chapter 733. Supreme grade, divine weapon. That's a supreme grade divine weapon. Finally, the title of Supreme Grade Divine Weapon attracted everyone's attention to the worldly splendor space beside Chu Si. At this moment, everyone could see the greed in their eyes. They did not try to hide it at all. But what they didn't notice was that Linley, who was sitting in the corner, saw the greedy looks in their eyes. Linley's gaze suddenly turned cold, and a murderous aura filled his entire body. Zhuge Ho, who was sitting at the side, had the same reaction as everyone else. It was a supreme grade divine artifact. It was something that all the major sects were envious of and longed for, let alone him. However, when he felt the murderous aura around him that made his soul tremble, he immediately shivered and the greed in his eyes disappeared. Zhuge Ho, who had recovered, glanced at Lin Ray from the corner of his eyes. Then, he looked at the contestant with a supreme grade divine weapon. In the next moment, Zhuge Ho was stunned. At the same time, there was also a strong sense of excitement, because he saw that the owner of the supreme grade divine weapon was Chu Si. If even one of her subordinates had a supreme grade divine weapon, then what Lin Ray said before, that he could refine it himself, was more than 80% true. When he thought of this, how could he not be excited when he thought of the fact that he was about to get his hands on a supreme grade divine weapon? That was something he had always wanted. At the same time, he was very clear that he was beside Lin Ray. At the same time, he was glad that he recovered early. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. At this moment, other than Lin Ray and Zhuge Ho, everyone else was the same as before. However, the murderous aura in their eyes became denser. They couldn't wait to rush up and snatch the supreme grade divine weapon. Desire and greed were about to take over their bodies. Wong. At this moment, Lin Ray snorted coldly. Immediately, everyone present felt as if their hearts had been hit by a force of 10,000 kilograms. At this moment, everyone came back to their senses. It's just that Lin Ray's cold snort contained a huge amount of mental energy and a cultivation of a middle-stage god emperor. If not for the fact that the cultivator had a strong mental energy, he would have been heavily injured by Lin Ray. Of course, among these people, only Zhuge Ho, who had recovered first, did not receive Lin Ray's attack. At this moment, everyone's faces were pale, and a trace of bright red blood flowed out from the corners of their mouths. Their hands couldn't help but cover their chests, and their faces were filled with pain. At the same time, It was only at this moment that the crowd noticed the owner of the supreme grade divine artifact. They were instantly shocked. It's better for you to take what's yours. It's useless for you to look at what doesn't belong to you. If you want to snatch it, I don't mind killing a few people to shake up the situation. How about it? Everyone. Lin Ray closed his eyes. His tone was as cold as ice. His words were like a sharp blade that pierced into everyone's hearts. At this moment, everyone was terrified. They couldn't help but recall the scene of the fat, old man's death. Fellow cultivator Lin, it's our fault. We won't do it again. Yes. Fellow cultivator Lin, we didn't mean it. Please forgive us. Yes. We didn't mean it. Please don't lower yourself to our level. Because they were afraid, even though they were the higher-ups of a sect and were powerful cultivators. In the face of death, everyone was the same. They were the same. They were the same. They were the same. They were the same. Looking at them, Lin Ray calmed down and said, "All right, since that's the case, let's begin." Yes, let's begin. Let's begin. Liu Yu nodded at Lin Ray's words. He then stood up and raised his voice. Everyone, the first round will begin. Those who want to refine pills, the Alchemy Guild will provide the pills. If no one wants to refine pills within 3 hours, you will be eliminated automatically. Now, the Alchemy Conference begins. At Liu Yu's command, the 16 alchemists below started to get busy. At this moment, when they heard that the Alchemy Conference had begun, they glanced at Lin Ray, who was sitting beside them. Then, they started to choose the spiritual herbs to refine the pills. Let's refine the spiritual recovery pill. This kind of pill is harder to refine than other pills. Seeing that everyone was choosing, Chu Ci thought of the spiritual recovery pill and started to choose. Lingzhi grass? Sitting in the seat of honor and looking at the spiritual herbs Chu Ci chose, the spiritual recovery pill appeared in his mind. Oh, good boy. I didn't expect you to refine this. At this moment, Lin Ray's face showed a trace of relief. This was because he knew how difficult it was to refine the spirit recovery pill. Other pills generally only required a dozen to 30 types of spirit herbs, but the spirit recovery pill was different. This spirit recovery pill's medicinal effects were particularly comprehensive. Even in the market, this kind of pill was not common. Not only could it restore spiritual power, but it could also restore exhausted spiritual power, mental power, and physical strength. Moreover, the spiritual recovery pill required 64 types of spiritual herbs. For this kind of spiritual herb, an average alchemist would need 2 to 3 days to refine. However, Lin Ray did not think so when it came to Chu Ci. He believed in Chu Ci's strength and his illusory spirit blood fire. At most, it would take 1.5 hours. After 1.5 hours, the spiritual recovery pill would be refined. According to the quality of the pills Chu Ci had refined in the past, it would be able to reach the level of 5 pill veins. It wasn't just Linley. Everyone's gaze landed on Chu Ci as well as Tianyi Huayu. They were all very curious. For such a powerful person who also possessed a supreme quality god artifact, what level of pill would he be able to refine? Some people even started to try to rope in Chu Ci. After all, an alchemy master was very important to a sect. Moreover, Chu Ci was not only an alchemist, but also a cultivator in the middle stage god-emperor realm. With such strength and heaven-defying alchemy skills, then the entire deity world would probably try to rope him in, even if they knew he was a disciple of the Danzong sect. Of course, Chu Ci, who was in the middle of selecting spiritual ingredients, naturally didn't know what everyone was thinking. At this moment, all he wanted to do was refine a good pill and not embarrass Linley. He couldn't disgrace the name of worldly splendor. Not far from him, a woman in white was looking at him with a venomous expression. Just you wait. So what if you have a powerful alchemy cauldron? You're not that person. You don't have the realm of a revered great alchemist. Although I can't take revenge on you, it's enough to crush you in the alchemy conference. The woman gritted her teeth. If Chu Ci knew what this woman was thinking, he would definitely ignore her and focus on concocting pills. because Chu Si didn't put her in his eyes. This woman was not a person. She was by E, who was with Lu Yu in the Alchemy Guild. I'm finally done. At this moment, Chu Si looked at the 64 spiritual herbs floating in the air and smiled. Then, in a flash, he returned to his original position. Chu Si no longer hesitated. She had already wasted a lot of time choosing spirit herbs. At this moment, she was already racing against time, even though she knew she had enough time. Boom! At this moment, Chu Si sat down cross-legged and looked at the supreme grade Tian Di Huayu in front of him. Chu Si was excited. In the next moment, his alchemy fire rushed out and rushed into the Tian Di Huayu. The first step of refining pills was to preheat them. This was something all alchemists had to do, including Lin Rei. Of course, this step could be skipped if the alchemy furnace was not used. 5 minutes later, Chu Si felt that the preheating process was successful, following which she threw all 64 types of spiritual herbs into the pill furnace at once. This is refining pills? Yeah, this? Chu Si's actions shocked everyone present, including the contestants who were refining pills. They were all stunned at this moment. Some of the contestants were so shocked by Chu Si's actions that they cut off the flow of flames into their pill cauldrons. In an instant, their cauldrons exploded. With a loud bang, a cloud of black smoke drifted out of the furnace. At first, it was fine, but as the black smoke drifted out, a foul smell spread out. Bang! Another loud sound rang out. At this time, a middle-aged man opened his mouth and complained, "F***, don't you have any morals? Why are you refining the stink pill? Can you do it? This isn't a war. Is there a need to disgust people?" At this time, the middle-aged man's words reflected everyone's thoughts. This sentence was also what they wanted to say. The stink pill was a mid-grade emperor-level pill. Although it was called the stink pill, it was called the stink pill because of its pungent smell. Because it was a stink pill, the refining process was very complicated. It was poles apart from Chu Si's spirit recovery pill. However, Chu Si was not affected by the changes in his surroundings at all. At this moment, he had completely integrated into the world of alchemy. Just as Chu Si threw the 64 herbs into the worldly splendor space, a terrifying mental force was activated. It rushed into the worldly splendor space and split into 64 streams, attaching themselves to the 64 herbs. At this time, Lin Rei, who had been paying attention to Chu Si, saw this scene and his heart skipped a beat. His face was full of surprise. This method was only known to him because it was the alchemy method he created. This method could greatly increase the speed of refining pills. However, the conditions to practice this method were very strict. Spiritual power, strong spiritual power, was the key to this alchemy method. Before he went into seclusion, Lin Rei taught him this method. At that time, it was just a spur of the moment. He did not expect Chu Si to really learn it. At this moment, he knew that Chu Si's alchemy skills had really improved, and not just by a little bit. Lin Rei was happy for him. At this time, Chu Si used his spiritual power. Because this alchemy method required a very precise amount of spiritual power, Chu Si's face was slightly pale and his spiritual power was slightly sluggish. After all, if one spiritual power did not meet the requirements, forcefully using it would damage their spiritual power. If it was serious, their spiritual power would directly collapse and turn into killing intent. At this time, Chu Si just met the minimum requirements of this method. Although it was a little strenuous, he could still do it. Moreover, this was his second time using it, so his movements were a little rusty. I hope there won't be any mistakes this time. Bless me. At this time, Chu Si could feel the impurities of the 64 spiritual herbs in the furnace slowly being removed. Chu Si could not help but pray. Time passed little by little. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. The alchemists whose furnaces had exploded had already cleaned up and started refining again. Some of them had also reached a critical juncture. What about Chu Si? At this moment, he had a smile on his face as he looked at the 64 drops of spiritual medicine quenching liquid in the furnace with a relaxed expression. Phew! I finally succeeded. Looking at the liquid, Chu Si could not help but sigh emotionally. However, although he was emotional and happy, he did not relax at all. This was because the next step was the most important part of alchemy, the fusion and formation of the pills. Success or failure depended on this step. Phew, come on. Sensing the time, Chu Si took a deep breath and immediately used his spiritual power and alchemy fire. Immediately, the alchemy fire increased, and the 64 drops of refining liquid began to fuse under Chu Si's refining. Fusing pills was a huge project. Because the medicinal properties of the spiritual herbs were different, the fusion of the pills had to be done very carefully. Otherwise, one careless mistake and the whole thing would be lost. In the end, it would be a waste of effort. The child is worth teaching. Upon seeing what Chu Si had just done, the smile on Linley's face grew even wider, because everything Chu Si had just done had completely exceeded his expectations. 9-dragon pill fusion spell, fuse for me. Immediately, Chu Si shouted loudly. Then, mysterious seals were formed one after another. Under the urging of Chu Si, the speed of the seals became faster and faster. In the end, except for Lin Ray, the others could only see an afterimage. I didn't expect this person's alchemy skills to be so high. And he also has such a powerful spell. If I can. At this moment, Lu Yu, who was sitting in the upper seat, looked more and more excited as he looked at the seals formed by Chu Si's hands. Greed appeared in his eyes, and he wanted to take the pills for himself. Suddenly, a cold intent made him throw those thoughts to the back of his mind. He did not dare to take them out again. The reason for Lu Yu's fear was Lin Ray. Thinking of Lin Ray's decisive killing methods and his identity as a venerable great alchemist, he became timid. 9-dragon pill fusion spell. Pill fusion. Just as Lu Yu's imagination was running wild, Chu Si's voice rang out. Mysterious seals were formed one after another. Wong. With a strange sound, the alchemy furnace made a strange sound. A medicinal fragrance drifted out. Smelling it, the spiritual energy in one's body increased slightly. Whoosh! Withdrawing his alchemy fire, Chu Si's tense figure and body were completely relaxed. However, because he had used too much spiritual energy, his spirit was sluggish. At the same time, a red light, like a comet, rushed out from the sky and landed in Chu Si's hand. Spirit recovery pill done. Chapter 734. How could he be so fast? Everyone present saw the pill in Chu Si's hand. However, what shocked them was that an Emperor-grade alchemist would need at least 2 to 3 hours to refine an Emperor-grade pill. Yet, the person in front of them had used less than an hour and a half to refine an extremely complicated pill. Not only them, but even the president of the Alchemist Guild, Lu Yu, was shocked. As an Emperor-level alchemist, he naturally knew how long it took to refine an Emperor-level pill. Among the crowd, Linley was the only one with a smile on his face. His face was filled with gratification. He was also a little surprised, but not too surprised. After all, he already knew that Chu Si's alchemy skills had greatly improved. At this moment, among the 16 alchemists present, only Chu Si had successfully refined an Emperor-level pill. Similarly, the 15 alchemists present were anxious when they saw that someone had successfully refined an Emperor-level pill. At the same time, their anxious hearts were slowly filled with admiration. It was not easy to refine an Emperor-level middle-level pill in such a short time. President, this is the spiritual recovery pill I refined. The quality is not bad. Do you think I passed? At this moment, Chu Si put the spiritual recovery pill into a pill bottle and stepped forward. In the next second, he arrived beside Lu Yu and presented the pill bottle to Lu Yu for him to see. Even Chu Si himself had never seen the spirit recovery pill before. Although he hadn't seen it, he was confident that the quality of the spirit recovery pill he refined was extremely high. It was for no other reason than the mental energy consumed to refine the spirit recovery pill. Yes, hearing Chu Si's words, Liu nodded. His eyes were filled with curiosity and anticipation. The moment Chu Si refined the pill, his curiosity had been aroused. After responding, Liu reached out and took the pill bottle. Then, ignoring the gazes of the crowd, he impatiently opened the pill bottle. A red pill lay quietly inside. "Is this?" At this moment, Liu sucked in a breath of cold air. His face was filled with shock and his eyes widened, as if he had seen something amazing. Even a Grandmaster-level alchemist like him was shocked by this. "What's wrong? What's wrong?" F***CK. Hurry up and tell me what's going on. Don't F***King keep silent. Hurry up and tell me. You bastard. Hurry up and tell me. Otherwise, I'll do you tonight. Do you believe me? At this moment, the crowd was also filled with curiosity. When they saw Liu Yu's reaction, the curiosity in their hearts was magnified countless times. In response, they didn't care about their status as they scolded Liu Yu in a low voice. The smile on Lin Rei's face grew wider as he watched this scene. However, even he was very curious as to how far Chu Si had managed to go. Even Zhuge Ho was no different from the others. He stared at Liu Yu anxiously, wanting to seek an answer. As for the alchemists of their own sects, they were already indifferent. As for Chu Si, he was the only one who was extremely confident in his own pill. However, when he saw the smile on Lin Rei's face, he was satisfied. From his point of view, he didn't care about other people's opinions at all. Only Lin Rei's opinion was what he was looking forward to the most. Five pill markings, this. At this moment, Liu Yu didn't seem to have heard the crowd's urging. He was still filled with shock as he stuttered. However, at this moment, Liu Yu was shocked again and again. This was because when he opened the bottle, a red pill with markings was lying inside. This was a devastating blow to him. 5 pill markings. This is a spiritual recovery pill with 5 pill markings. Its market value is immeasurable. This what? Pill markings? 5? Zhuge Ho, who was sitting beside Lin Rei, stood up in shock the moment he heard Liu Yu's words. He stared at Chu Si in a daze. At this moment, Chu Si's gaze was also on Lin Rei. In the end, Zhuge Ho's gaze landed on Lin Rei, who was sitting beside him. At this moment, an extremely terrifying thought appeared in his mind. Damn, could it be that Chu Si's pill-calling technique was also taught by Lin Rei? When this thought appeared, Zhuge Ho's gaze towards Lin Rei became even more venerable. It was as if he wasn't looking at Lin Rei right now, nor was he looking at an expert. Instead, he was looking at a desolate era saint. At the same time, at this moment, the thought of befriending Lin Rei completely emerged. At this moment, Zhuge Ho understood that he couldn't offend Lin Rei. He would rather offend the entire sect than offend Lin Rei. Mother of **Ker, is he even human? His cultivation is only at the Emperor realm, and his pill concoction technique is already so heaven-defying. Do you want to live or die? That's right. If you're so awesome, why did you still participate in the Alchemy Guild? Aren't you intentionally trying to destroy the confidence of our sect's alchemists? I wouldn't dare. What if our sect's alchemists lose all hope in the path of pill concoction? Then, at this moment, the remaining 15 sects were filled with regret. They deeply regretted participating in this alchemy guild. Each and every one of them had a long face as they looked at Chu Si and Lin Rei. However, more than that, they were looking at their own sect's alchemists. Looking at them, a trace of pity appeared in their eyes. Not bad. You didn't disappoint me. However, if your mental strength isn't enough, don't force yourself to use that concoction technique in the future. I don't wish for you to become an idiot. Do you understand? Lin Rei transmitted his voice. His tone was filled with gratification. Yes, I understand. At this moment, after receiving Lin Rei's approval and praise, Chu Si's heart was filled with satisfaction. Fellow Taoist, how did you do it? Can you tell me? No, can you teach me? Even if you want me to become your disciple, this old man won't refuse. Liu Yu, who was still in shock, suddenly raised his head and looked at Chu Si. His eyes were filled with desire as he pleaded. At this, Chu Si was momentarily stunned by this sudden turn of events. When she regained her senses, Lu Yu had already knelt on the ground and started kowtowing. Fellow Taoist, please tell me, how did you concoct these elixir veins? Or what method do you have? Please tell me. At this moment, Lu Yu's voice was filled with grief. He was on the verge of tears as he knelt on the ground and begged Chu Si. As long as you tell me, I'll agree to anything you want. Even if it's my alchemy guild, I won't refuse. You can take it as you wish. To be honest, although I'm a grandmaster alchemist, I can only concoct 2 elixir veins. Even so, I'm already satisfied. As long as you let me learn the method to concoct elixir veins, I'll become your disciple. This scene happened too quickly and too suddenly. For a moment, everyone's brains seemed to have short-circuited. They were all stunned on the spot, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. They had never imagined that a renowned Grandmaster Great Alchemist would kneel before an Emperor Great Alchemist and ask for guidance in alchemy. Such a scene could be said to be one that was rarely seen in 10,000 years. However, as the saying goes, the one who has reached the top, and the teachers will. When everyone recalled that Chu Si was able to refine a pill with 5 pill veins, they understood. At this moment, looking at Lu Yu kneeling in front of her, Chu Si was in a difficult position. President Lu, it's not that I don't want to teach you, but I'm not sure about this method. Moreover, I don't have the authority to teach you, so I'm sorry. Then, to ease the awkwardness, Chu Si turned around and used her right hand to summon spiritual energy to her pill furnace. Pooh! 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 A series of strange noises were heard as streaks of red light shot out of the cauldron like comets. Then, they landed in the pill bottle that Chu Si had prepared in advance on a specific trajectory. This scene shook the hearts of everyone present. They originally thought that Chu Si had only concocted 1 pill, but seeing the streaks of red light flying out, there were at least 20 pills. At this moment, everyone was deeply shaken. At the same time, they were even more worried for their Sect's disciples. At the same time, everyone had already changed the name of this alchemy conference to Chu Si. After all, she was someone that even Lu Yu had to kowtow to. How could they, the juniors, be a match for her? At this moment, everyone only hoped that their Sect's alchemist would not collapse because of this. She put away the pills and looked at the bottle full of pills with 5 elixir veins with satisfaction. Finally, she went to Lin Rei's side and quietly stood behind him without saying a word. This scene made everyone sigh, but no one dared to say anything because they were filled with fear of Lin Rei. At this moment, a buzzing sound came from below. A young man in white stood up, and a green light rushed out of the giant cauldron and flew into his hand. Haha, it's from my sword Sect. The second one is from my sword Sect. Good. Sitting next to Lin Rei, Zhuge He's face was full of smiles. He looked like a chrysanthemum flower, which was very funny. What's there to be proud of? Isn't it just because your Sect's alchemist was the second to concoct the pill? Even if you call him out, it still depends on the quality of the pill. If it's not good, it's useless. Yeah, that's true. Let's see what the quality of the pill is first. Don't embarrass yourself later. As soon as Zhuge He laughed, everyone around him began to attack him. At this moment, when he heard everyone's words, the smile on Zhuge He's face froze. They were right. Even if the pill was concocted in advance, it was still too early to say what the quality was. Thinking about this, Zhuge He looked at his Sect's alchemist. His eyes were filled with nervousness and anticipation, but also with worry. President Lu Yu, this is the pill I concocted. Please take a look. At this moment, the young man in white came to Lu Yu's side. His face was full of confidence, as if the result was not important to him at all. What? Another alchemist who can concoct pill veins? A cry of surprise came from Lu Yu's mouth. Immediately, the faces of some of the old men who were waiting to see a joke froze at this moment. It was as if their faces had been slapped by thousands of people. At this moment, everyone couldn't help but lower their heads and stop talking. The old man, who was laughing the most, previously had his head buried in his pants. Of course, the one who was the most shocked at this moment was Zhuge He. How could he not be excited that his sect had concocted a pill with pill veins? How is it, President Liu Yu? Did I pass? The young man in white looked at the stunned Liu Yu and said indifferently, "Yes, you passed," Liu Yu said in a low voice. But then, Liu Yu raised his head and his eyes were filled with doubt. "Although the pill you concocted only has one pill veins, you are indeed a rare genius. I don't know if you're interested in joining my alchemist guild. Don't worry, if you come, I, Liu Yu, guarantee that all the resources of the alchemist guild will be used on you. How about it? Get lost, Liu Yu old bastard, you are too much. How dare you snatch in front of me, Zhuge Ho? Are you looking for death?" At this moment, Zhuge Ho was furious and even had the intention to kill. Originally, it was because his sect's alchemist had concocted a pill with pill veins. But who would have thought that the president of the Alchemist Guild, Liu Yu, would snatch it in front of the Sword Sect? Interesting. At this moment, everyone's eyes were on Liu Yu and Zhuge Ho. Only Lin Rei's divine sense was on the young man in white. An early-stage god emperor? Looking at the young man in white, Lin Rei muttered in his heart. He glanced at the young man before turning back to Zhuge Ho. His face was filled with puzzlement. He did not understand why the other party was clearly a genuine early-stage god emperor, yet he only revealed the strength of an early-stage god monarch. If he did not have the primal chaos, heavenly scripture, and strong enough mental energy, he would not have been able to see the young man's true strength. Moreover, from the aura on his body, it was clear that he was using some secret technique to hide his cultivation. Looking at him, Lin Rei was worried. Although he did not know why he was like this, Lin Rei was worried that he would be a dark horse this time. Thinking about it, Lin Rei said to Chu Ci behind him, "This young man in white is not simple. He is an early-stage god emperor, so his mental energy should not be what it seems on the surface. As for his alchemy skills, I'm not sure. So, you must be careful when you meet him in the future, understand?" Yes, I understand. Nodding, Chu Ci's gaze landed on the young man in white. At the same time, the young man in white felt Chu Ci's gaze. He turned around, and their gazes met. The two of them stared at each other for a few minutes. In the end, the young man looked away with a surprised expression. Not simple. Chu Ci could only think of this at this moment. Wong, 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 Wong. At this moment, a series of Wong sounds could be heard from below. Various colored lights could be seen rushing out of the pill furnace. At this moment, the first round of alchemy was nearing its end. Chapter 735. Time quickly passed, and in the blink of an eye, the 3-hour time limit was up. However, out of the 16 alchemists, 7 or 8 still hadn't finished. Looking at them, Liu Yu stood up with a regretful expression. He sighed and said, "Everyone, time is up. Alchemists who have not finished, please stop." No, I'm still. At this time, the alchemists who hadn't finished their alchemy were filled with despair when they heard that the competition was over. They had high hopes for the Alchemy Guild's conditions. It could be said that if they could be nurtured by the Alchemy Guild, they would be willing to give up their lives. But now, after Liu Yu's words, everyone felt as if they had hit rock bottom. All the bones in their bodies were broken, and they didn't even have the strength to stand up. I'm sorry. Looking at the 6 or 7 alchemists, Liu Yu's face revealed an apologetic expression. He didn't want to do this, but the rules of the competition were like this, and he couldn't change them. Those who have been eliminated, hurry up and leave. After saying that, Liu Yu nodded to the disciples who were maintaining order at the side, indicating that they should be prepared. This was because there had been cases in the past where people had retorted at the end of the competition because they had lost. Therefore, Liu Yu had to be prepared for this phenomenon in advance. But what surprised him was that the 6 or 7 alchemists didn't cause any trouble this year. Instead, they quietly left with looks of despair, disappointment, and dispiritedness. After all, they were all in the upper echelons of their respective sects and were respected by tens of thousands of people. They wouldn't do what Liu Yu wanted them to do. In this regard, Liu Yu heaved a sigh of relief and gestured for the guards who had already stepped forward to retreat. The 6 or 7 alchemists had all left. Looking at their dispirited backs, Lu Yu sighed in his heart. However, he quickly recovered. After all, he had seen this kind of scene many times. When he came back to his senses, he looked at the 9 bottles of pills in front of him. His face was full of smiles as he scanned the crowd and said, "Everyone, the first round of the alchemy conference has ended. The 9 bottles of pills in front of you are the winners of this round. Of course, there are high-quality pills and low-quality pills. Next, I will not be able to choose the top 6. As for the owners of the remaining 3 bottles of pills, they will be eliminated." After speaking, he didn't wait for the others to reply and began to inspect the bottles. Picking up a bottle of pills, Liu opened the lid and looked inside. There was a blood-red pill lying quietly in the bottle. The smell of blood came out of the bottle. Although the smell was very faint, Liu could still smell it later. Blood demon pill, it's such a pill. At this moment, Liu Yu's face was filled with shock. He knew about the blood demon pill. Although it wasn't considered a forbidden pill, no one in the god world would concoct it, let alone use it. The blood demon pill was made from human blood as a catalyst. Then, it was made from all kinds of evil herbs. It was combined with a unique alchemy technique. Although this kind of pill was a good thing a long time ago, it was also fatal. It was something that could destroy a cultivator's future. After consuming the blood demon pill, it could double one's original cultivation base and increase one's strength. It was refined for killing. However, there was a fatal side effect of consuming the blood demon pill. Once the pill lost its effect, the user's essence blood would be completely exhausted. In the end, the user would die from the lack of essence blood. Of course, there were side effects. If the person didn't die, they would have to pay a huge price to save their life. Not to mention all kinds of precious spiritual herbs. The most important thing was that even if the person passed, their spiritual root, meridians, and dantian would be completely destroyed. Even if they wanted to be rebuilt, it would be impossible. The moment he saw the legendary demonic blood pill, Liu Yu felt goosebumps all over his body. A sense of dread filled his heart. He wasn't the only one. The moment the blood demon pill was spoken, everyone's face changed. Their eyes widened like the wind, and they were filled with fear and disgust. This kind of thing, even if it was given to them, probably no one would want to get it. This kind of thing was harmful to both others and themselves. Therefore, they naturally avoided it as far as possible. What's wrong? The alchemy conference doesn't seem to have this rule. Is it not allowed to refine the blood demon pill? At this moment, a young man with a sinister aura swept his cold gaze across the crowd. Then, his gaze fell on Liu Yu, and he asked, "This?" Liu Yu choked on his words. To be honest, there was no such rule. However, Liu Yu really didn't want to let him pass, but in the end, out of helplessness, Liu Yu could only grit his teeth and stomp his foot. He said, "Fine, there's no such rule. However, you have to know that there are still 6 alchemists who have yet to see their pills. If your pill isn't as good as theirs, then fine, I'll wait. I hope President Liu Yu of the Alchemy Guild is a fair and just person." Without waiting for Liu Yu to finish, the young man interrupted him. Then, he retreated to a corner and leisurely minded his own business. No one dared to compliment the young man's attitude. At the same time, because he had concocted the demonic blood pill, everyone present had the urge to kill the person in front of them. However, when everyone wanted to kill the young man to prevent future trouble, Lin Ray, who was sitting in the corner, didn't have the slightest intention to do so. At this moment, he felt that the young man had the same personality as Sha Tian, who he had taken in the profound sky continent. He was a murderous person, but he was a wicked person. Interesting. Lin Ray was very interested in the young man. He knew about the blood demon pill. It was very troublesome to refine this kind of pill. Perhaps even Chu Ci, who was already a supreme emperor alchemist, might not be able to refine it. In order to refine the blood demon pill, the first prerequisite was to have a firm Dao heart. Otherwise, the blood demon pill would backfire and die halfway through the refinement process. The second requirement was cultivation. If one didn't have a strong cultivation as a foundation, then everything would be nonsense. Therefore, Lin Rei was sure that Chu Si didn't have the ability to refine the blood demon pill. It was undeniable that this young man was a genius. Of course, if the crowd knew what Lin Rei was thinking, they would definitely go crazy. After all, this was something that they would never think of. At this moment, Liu Yu didn't linger on this matter for long. He then looked at the second person's pill. The second person had refined the ethereal pill. Similarly, it was a pill with an elixir vein. At this moment, Liu Yu had the urge to cry. Damn, are there so many alchemists who can refine elixir veins now? Although Liu Yu muttered in his heart, he still had a smile on his face and looked very amiable. Then, it was the third person's pill. Looking at the crowd, Liu Yu picked up the pill bottle and opened the lid. Instantly, a nauseating smell rushed out of the pill bottle and spread in all directions. F***, what's going on? Are you trying to kill me? F***, are you crazy? Are you trying to kill me? Do you believe that I won't kill you? The nauseating smell filled the entire hall of the Alchemy Guild. Immediately, everyone frowned and covered their mouths and noses. Their faces were filled with anger as they cursed. Even Lin Li was no exception. He hadn't imagined that the smell of this pill would be so strong. But what was different from other people was that when he asked about the smell, Lin Li was startled, and then a hint of a smile appeared on his face. This alchemy conference is really interesting. This stink pill has almost reached the threshold of 4 elixir veins. I really didn't expect this. Lin Rei muttered in his heart. That's right, the stink pill. This was the alchemist whose furnace had exploded. However, what surprised Lin Rei was that not only did he refine the pill, but he also refined the pill so well. Thinking of this, Lin Rei transmitted his voice to Chu Si behind him. When you refine the pill later, use it. The next battle won't be so easy. What do you mean, young master? Hearing the sudden words, Chu Si was stunned for a moment. Then, he quickly recovered and asked. Sigh. Lin Rei was also helpless towards Chu Si's point. However, he had no choice but to explain in the end. There are a few extraordinary people in this group. The pills they refined aren't much worse than yours. Therefore, I want you to suppress them with a peerless appearance. I want you to win first place. Do you understand? Chu Si couldn't disobey Lin Rei's orders. Moreover, his wish was to win first place in this alchemy conference. This was also the condition he promised his master. At this moment, everyone was sucked in. They stared resentfully at the little fatty who refined the stink pill. They didn't expect this little fatty to be so disgusting. However, to the crowd's surprise, while everyone was sucked into the suction force, Liu Yu's mouth was wide open, and his eyes were wide open. An expression of shock and disbelief appeared on his face. 3 marks. 3 pill marks, this. While everyone was puzzled and focused their attention on Liu Yu, a voice came out from his mouth. Boom! His words were like a bolt from the blue, heavily bombarding everyone's hearts. Apart from shock, everyone was shocked. They couldn't say anything. After all, according to the number of people, there were already 4 people who had pills. Normally, people who could refine pills with pill marks would have been poached by the major forces. But now, so many of them had appeared. These 3 people made Liu Yu even more jealous. After all, even he only had 2 pill marks. He could only refine pills occasionally. Therefore, jealousy and excitement flashed across his face. The matter passed little by little. In the blink of an eye, more than an hour had passed. In this short period of time, the results of the 7 pill refiners were all seen. During this process, Liu Yu was shocked again and again. At the same time, he was also very surprised. After placing the last bottle of pills on the table, Liu Yu stood up and looked at Lin Rei, who was sitting in the corner. Then he announced, Everyone, this round can only accommodate 6 people. So I'm sorry. Then, Liu Yu sighed and pointed at the young man who refined the blood demon pill and the 2 other pill refiners. His face was full of regret. Although these 3 pills are good, the quality of their pills is not as good as the other pill refiners. Compared to the other pill refiners, it's like heaven and earth. They can't be compared. I hope you can work harder in the future. What? My pill is not good? At this moment, the young man who refined the blood demon pill stood up and questioned Lu Yu. As for the other two eliminated pill refiners, they didn't ask for justice like the young man. Instead, they left obediently. Seeing how agitated the young man was, Lu Yu didn't waste any time and directly placed the pills of the other pill refiners on the table. Suddenly, rays of light swept across the table. As for the young man in front of him, the moment he saw the pills on the table, his expression changed and a look of disappointment appeared in his eyes. "How is it?" Looking at the young man's expression, Lu Yu smiled and said, "The rest of the pill refiners here are all pill refiners with pill veins. Tell me, what can I do? I can't be biased." After saying that, Lu Yu gestured for the young man to leave. At this moment, the young man had lost his mind. After all, the scene just now had shocked him. All of them had pill veins. That was 6 people. Thinking of this, the young man nodded and said, "In that case, I'll take my leave." "In good." Looking at the young man's back, Lu Yu sighed. Then, he looked at the 6 pill refiners who had successfully passed, and a happy smile appeared on his face. At this moment, when he saw the pills refined by the 6 pill refiners, Lu Yu had already given his disciple's name to Chu Ci. After all, he deserved it. He knew very well that he had a venerable grade pill refiner as his master. Looking at the crowd, Lu Yu opened his mouth and said, "All right, the first round is over." After the first round, a total of 6 people have been eliminated. The second round is about to begin. Among the 6 of you, there will be someone who will die in the second round. I hope you're all prepared. Don't worry, President Liu. We're all prepared. When will the second round begin? We can't wait. At this moment, the fatty who was refining the stink pill asked Lu Yu with a face full of excitement when he heard Lu Yu's words. He looked at Chu Ci with shining eyes. "Hey, it's about to begin." He understood the fatty's meaning. Looking at him, Lu Yu smiled and said, "The second round is about to begin. You can start at any time. Challenge one person and propose the pill you want to bet. Then, according to the quality, rank, and quality of the pill, the person who loses will be divided." The time for this round was the same as the previous one. If one didn't pass within the time limit, it would be considered as a forfeit. "All right, I want to challenge Chu Ci. I heard that he refined 5 pill veins." As expected, after hearing Lu Yu's words, the fatty who had been waiting for his prey hurriedly stepped forward and pointed at Chu Ci. Suddenly, someone wanted to challenge him. For a moment, he was stunned. Chapter 736. What? You don't dare? The fatty sneered when he saw Chu Ci's stunned expression. He looked at Chu Ci with disdain and provocation. Chu Ci was startled when he saw the fatty. At this moment, Chu Ci suddenly became serious. There was no such word in Chu Ci's dictionary. Chu Ci was displeased when he saw that he was being mocked. He said, "Come on, didn't you want to challenge me? I'll give you a chance today. I'll let you know what it means to be completely dominated." The fatty had completely ignited Chu Ci's competitive spirit, especially in front of Lin Ray. He didn't want to be defeated by this kind of trash. "Good, you've got guts." The fatty nodded when he saw Chu Ci agree. His face was full of smiles, but he didn't know that what awaited him was a devastating blow. "I'm Yu.Fa, an Emperor-level high-level alchemist from the Rain Sect. Although I heard that you can refine a pill with 5 patterns, we'll have to see the next round." "Okay." Chu Ci smiled and nodded. His lips curled up slightly, and a trace of mockery appeared. Even so, Chu Ci didn't let down his guard against Yu.Fa. Instead, he became more nervous and serious. Because of Lin Li's warning, he didn't dare to slack off in the slightest. He didn't want to lose. He didn't want to beg in front of Lin Li. He didn't want to lose in front of so many people. He wanted to win, and he wanted to win beautifully and bring glory to Lin Li. All right. Since everyone is so excited, let's begin. Next, each of you will find your own opponent. The time limit is 3 hours. Like before, any abnormalities after the time limit will be dealt with according to the rules of elimination. Seeing that the situation was going well, Lu Yu hurriedly stood up and said to the crowd. Just like that, the second round began. At this moment, everyone's gazes fell on Chu Ci and Yu.Fa. After all, among everyone present, only the two of them had the highest alchemy skills. Moreover, they were especially looking forward to what Pil Chu Ci would prepare next. At the same time, even Linley was beginning to feel eager. He wanted to see what Chu Ci would do next. Under the gazes of everyone present, Chu Ci and Udefa, who had the halo of a protagonist, began their battle. Both of them went to their respective cauldrons. At this time, Udefa looked at the cauldron beside Chu Ci with envy in his eyes. "Hey, how about we make a bet?" Chu Ci was stunned when he heard Udefa's request. However, he wanted to see what tricks Udefa had up his sleeve, so he said, "Let's not talk about the bet first. Tell me what the stakes are. If the stakes aren't equal, I won't agree." Hearing this, Udefa was stunned for a moment. Then a bright smile appeared on his face. With a harmless appearance, he muttered, "Actually, it's nothing. If I lose, you give me your cauldron. If I lose, I don't want your pill furnace. Moreover, I don't think your pill furnace is worth that much." Chu Ci hurriedly interrupted him when she heard that he was eyeing her pill furnace again. A supreme-grade divine artifact was very precious to Chu Ci. Moreover, it was given to him by Lin Rei after the worldly Huayu had been upgraded. How could he casually use something like that as a stake? Heh, of course it's not my cauldron. Looking at Chu Ci, Udefa said, "I know your cauldron is a supreme-grade divine artifact. Therefore, I won't use my cauldron to bet with you. I'll use this." With that, he flipped his hand, and a small, sparkling and translucent pagoda suddenly appeared. The moment the small pagoda appeared, a golden light shot into the sky. In the next moment, the small pagoda devoured all the spiritual qi within 100 feet radius. However, what made people sigh was that after devouring all the spiritual qi within 100 feet radius, the small pagoda didn't do anything else. Moreover, what made people curious was that the small pagoda didn't seem to be complete. It looked like there were only 4 levels of the pagoda. There were more levels above, but they weren't combined with the pagoda. Looking at the small pagoda, although the moment it appeared, people would be shocked. Some people would even think that it was a supreme treasure. However, looking at him, Chu Ci's face was indifferent. Chu Ci wasn't stupid enough to use his supreme-grade divine artifact to bet with this small pagoda. However, among the people present, Lin Rei was stunned. His divine consciousness had been pulled into the system by the little dragon. At this moment, in the system, the little dragon was like an otherworldly expert. Looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon said, "Take that pagoda back. Its origin isn't simple. Even your chaotic dragon spear can't compare to it." What? Hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei was shocked. He didn't see anything special about the small pagoda, but seeing how serious the little dragon was, Lin Rei couldn't help but want to ask about the small pagoda's origin. "Host, listen to the little dragon. Take down that small pagoda. It will be very helpful to your future. Moreover, if you can find the rest of the missing pagoda and combine them, the power will be devastating." Hiss. Just as Lin Rei was about to ask, the system, who had been silent all this time, opened its mouth. Moreover, it was catering to the little dragon's intention. Regarding this, Lin Rei was shocked. This scene had never appeared ever since he got the system, and now it was all because of small pagoda. Moreover, it was a waste product. This made him value the small pagoda even more. "Okay, I will let Chu Ci bet with him. But you must promise me that when I take back the small pagoda, you must tell me about the small pagoda's origin." In response to Lin Rei's words, the little dragon and the system unanimously rejected Lin Rei. Looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon said, "It's not that I don't want to tell you. It's just that the time isn't right. When you have the courage to merge with the Tao, I will tell you a little about the small pagoda's origin. As for now, you don't have the ability to do so, understand?" Hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei, who still wanted to say something, fell silent in the end. After all, they had been together for thousands of years. He had long understood the little dragon's character. He knew that the little dragon wouldn't go against its decision even if it had to die. Regarding this, Lin Rei could only give up. "Okay, go quickly. You must get this thing, even if you have to snatch it. With that, without waiting for Lin Ray to say anything, the little dragon waved its hand. An invisible force pushed Lin Ray out of the system and back into the main body. At this moment, just as Chu Si was about to reject Udefa, Lin Ray hurriedly transmitted his voice to her. Don't reject him. Agree to his bet. But you must win. I must have the small pagoda in his hands. Do you understand? This. Okay. Originally, she wanted to refuse, but after hearing Lin Ray's order, Chu Si was a little reluctant for a moment, but she still obeyed. Looking at Udefa, Chu Si subconsciously looked at the wager at the same time, and then responded, I accept this bet. If you lose, the small pagoda is mine. If I tell you, my alchemy furnace is yours. Wow. Once these words were spoken, the crowd was in an uproar. Everyone began to lose their composure. They also saw the small pagoda's strange appearance, but they still felt that it was impossible for Chu Si to accept a supreme-grade divine artifact. But now, the result made everyone's jaws drop. Even after a long time, no one reacted. Of course, among the crowd, except for Lin Ray. At this moment, Lin Ray couldn't wait for the bet to end quickly so that he could obtain the small pagoda and investigate it. Okay, since that's the case, let's begin. The bet has been going on for a while. I don't want to fall behind. Boom! With that, a purple alchemy fire rushed out of his palm, and he began to refine the pill. Seeing Udefa like this, Chu Si didn't want to fall behind. She sat down cross-legged and began to search for the ingredients to refine the supreme-grade emperor pill, the Tiger Yang pill. The Tiger Yang pill was a famous body-tempering pill. If consumed by a body-tempering cultivator, it could increase the strength of their physical body. If consumed by a cultivator, it could also increase the strength of their physical body. One had to know that the only weakness of a cultivator was that their physical body shrank. This was a common problem for all cultivators. Of course, except for Lin Ray and those who lived on the edge of a knife. Some people would even take the initiative to increase the strength of their physical body. Of course, there were also some people who thought that as long as they cultivated spiritual energy, as long as their spiritual energy was strong enough, they could make up for the shortcomings of their physical body. Seeing Udefa's progress, Chu Si didn't delay any longer. She immediately took out her alchemy fire and began to preheat the pill furnace. In just a short minute, the pill furnace was successfully preheated. Then, Chu Si used the same method as before and threw all the spiritual herbs that were used to refine the Tiger Yang pill into the pill furnace. Perhaps it was because she had used the same method twice, but this time, Chu Si's refining speed was especially fast and smooth. She didn't stop at all. One by one, mysterious and beautiful runes appeared from Chu Si's hands. She seemed to have entered a state of enlightenment. It was as if, in the entire world, there was only her and her pill furnace. As time went on, Chu Si's speed of forming hand seals became faster and faster. Perhaps even she didn't notice it. This movement was smooth and fluid, and it was done in one go. If there was such a thing as perfection in the world, it would be nothing more than this. At this moment, Lin Ray, who was sitting on the stage, saw Chu Si's actions. Suddenly, a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. I didn't expect my luck to be so good. He actually gained enlightenment at this time. Looks like it won't be long before he completely enters the realm of a Grandmaster Alchemist. Of course, for Lin Ray, it wouldn't be long. It could be a day, a year, or even 10 years, 100 years, or even 1,000 years. In the end, it would depend on that person's comprehension and temperament. Lin Ray couldn't help. In the end, she could only rely on herself. As for the information, Chu Si didn't even know that she had unintentionally entered the state of enlightenment that everyone dreamed of. Time passed little by little. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours had passed. Some people couldn't bear the pressure of being challenged. Some even felt that they were simply too strong for their opponents, causing them to fail midway and be eliminated. Fatty Udefa, who had bet with Chu Si, opened his eyes at this moment. He had a smug smile on his face as he looked at Chu Si. who was still refining. His heart was filled with indescribable joy and excitement. Aren't you awesome? Aren't you very fast at refining pills? In front of this young master, everything is trash. With that, Defa formed hand seals and shouted, "Pill complete." Wong, the rumbling sound of the pill furnace rang out. At this moment, everyone's eyes, including Linley's divine sense, turned towards Defa. Although he knew that Chu Si would respond, he still smiled worriedly. Whoosh! The moment Defa retracted his pill fire, a dark red light rushed out of the pill furnace towards Defa's direction. Oh! Fire Spirit Pill, high-grade Emperor-level pill with 4 pill veins. TSK not bad. At this time, Lin Ray, who had used his consciousness, naturally knew what pill Defa had refined. He even knew its effects, quality, and pill veins. Seeing this, Linley let out a sigh of relief in his heart. In that moment, all of his worries vanished like smoke into thin air. Hee, let's see how you'll beat me now. Defa smiled as he put away his pill and walked towards Lu Yu. At this moment, a buzzing sound came from behind. Defa stopped walking and turned his head to look in Chu Si's direction. He saw a yellow light, like a comet, fall into Chu Si's hand and put it into a pill bottle. Phew! Chu Si breathed a sigh of relief. However, because she had used her mental strength again, she was even more dispirited now. So what if you've refined it? You're still later than me. Seeing that Chu Si had finished refining the pill, Defa snorted coldly. He walked towards Lu Yu and handed him the Fire Spirit Pill. Tourism Association President, this is the pill I refined. Please take a look. All right. Hearing this, Lu Yu quickly took the pill from Defa's hand and looked at it. Hiss! When Lu Yu saw Defa's pill, his eyes widened and his face was filled with shock. He sucked in a breath of cold air. However, because he had seen Chu Si refine 5 pill veins, he quickly calmed down. Not bad. The Fire Spirit Pill can increase the cultivation of those with fire spiritual roots. It's a high-grade Emperor-level pill and can be used by cultivators below the godly Emperor realm. TSK. The Rain Sect is so lucky to have such a great alchemist to help them. No wonder they can become one of the 7 sects. Yeah, that's right. At this moment, the higher-ups and disciples of the Rain Sect heard the discussions around them, and their faces were filled with pride. Quick, let's see what Chu Si's pill is like. Just as the people from the Rain Sect were feeling proud of themselves, someone suddenly shouted. Lu Yu excitedly placed the Fire Spirit Pill in his hand on the table beside him. Then his expectant gaze landed on Chu Si, who was standing behind Defa. Chapter 737. Seeing everyone's expectant gazes, Chu Si smiled and walked to Lu Yu's side step by step. She handed the pill she had refined to him. President Lu Yu, this is something I refined. See if it's up to your standards. Haha, fellow Taoist, you must be joking. The pill you refined has 5 patterns. If your pill isn't up to par, then no one would want my pill. Lu Yu took the pill bottle from Chu Si's hand and opened it impatiently. A yellow pill lay quietly in the bottle. Suddenly, a fragrance rushed out of the bottle and drifted into the air. Huyang pill, a supreme grade pill. Fellow Taoist, you're really patient. Smelling the pill fragrance, Lu Yu could tell that this was an extremely difficult alchemical pill to concoct, even among the highest level alchemical pills. The concoction method was extremely complicated, and what shocked him even more was that on this Huyang pill, there were 5 alchemical patterns carved into it, as if they were naturally formed. Hiss, another top-grade Emperor-level pill with 5 pill veins. At this moment, Lu Yu couldn't help but look at Chu Si with admiration. In his entire life, he had only seen such alchemy skills when Linley had tested out an Emperor-level pill. Now, he had seen it again. Although there was a vast difference in strength and cultivation base between the two of them, the way he had forged the pill just now had caused him to subconsciously glance at Linley, who was sitting leisurely to the side. In his eyes, other than admiration, there was only reverence. In the cultivation world, the strong preyed on the weak, and the strong were respected. Seeing Linley's powerful alchemy skills, even he wanted to take him as his master. Of course, he knew that Lin Ray wouldn't take him as his disciple, so he didn't ask for a rebuff. If he insisted on disturbing Lin Ray, it would only make Lin Ray hate him. How is it? Tell us. Damn, you can't even beat a fart with a stick. Can you hurry up and tell us? Lu Yu, you damn pill refiner, hurry up and tell us. How is fellow Taoist Chu Si's pill refining? At this moment, the crowd was pressing down on Lu Yu expectantly. However, even after listening for a long time, Lu Yu still didn't say anything. At this moment, everyone started complaining angrily. The people who were slightly anxious were none other than the people from the Rain Sect. They were looking forward to Chu Si's results because it was related to the reputation of the Rain Sect. Ha! Hearing the crowd's indignation, Lu Yu snapped out of his daze and glanced at them with a pleased smile. Fellow Taoist Chu Si. Fellow Taoist Chu Si's pill is a top-grade Emperor-level pill, the Hu Yang pill. What? Hu Yang pill? Or is it a top-grade Emperor-level pill? At that moment, Yu Defa, who was waiting in front of Lu Yu, heard that Chu Si had concocted a top-quality Emperor-level pill. At that moment, he knew that he had lost because he had only concocted a high-quality Emperor-level pill. There was a gap between the two levels. Furthermore, he also knew about the Hu Yang pill. He was also very much looking forward to this kind of alchemical pill. However, this kind of alchemical pill was very troublesome to concoct, so no one had ever concocted it. At that moment, Yu Defa's expression was very rich. He was both disappointed and excited. After Chu Si saw this, she paused for a while. F***CK. What the hell are you doing? You're still so excited after losing you. Of course, Chu Si wouldn't say these words. Looking at Yu Defa, Chu Si placed her hand on his shoulder and comforted him. Fellow Taoist, you've actually done very well. The road ahead is still long. Don't be discouraged. Keep up the good work. I'll be waiting for you ahead. T-Sif. Hearing this, Yu Defa directly ignored her. Don't be so happy. This time, it was just a moment of carelessness. If there's a next time, I'll definitely let you know what it means to be a pill master. Chu Si was embarrassed. He didn't expect that his consolation would make the other party so impudent. However, at least he won this round and didn't let Lin Ray down. At that moment, seeing the two's actions, Lu Yu quickly said, Fellow Taoist Chu Si, I really want to know why you were able to concoct a pill with 5 pill patterns twice. All right, fellow Taoist Lu Yu, let's not talk about this anymore. Hearing Lu Yu's words, Chu Si knew what he was going to say next. She didn't wait for him to finish and hurriedly stopped him. I can't teach you the art of pill concoction, so give up. Besides, everyone has their own Tao of pill concoction. You have it, so do I. Therefore, don't force it. Let nature take its course, and you'll achieve Tao. Boom. Let nature take its course, and you'll achieve Tao. Let nature take its course, and you'll achieve Tao. Ha ha. At that moment, Lu Yu muttered Chu Si's last words to himself. Suddenly, he had a feeling that he was going to break through to the next level of pill concoction. Haha, this kid actually managed to make a Grandmaster Pill Master gain enlightenment after just one round of enlightenment, and even found a miracle to break through. Lin Ray, who was watching from the side, already knew the meaning of this sentence. Of course, this sentence was useless to him. However, it meant a lot to a Grandmaster Pill Master. If that person's comprehension was of the highest grade, then he would be even further and more perfect in the Grandmaster Pill Master realm. Of course, Chu Si himself didn't know all of this. Because of his words, a person who was of a higher level than him found an opportunity to break through. The crowd was also very puzzled by Lu Yu's sudden laughter. Although they didn't understand why Lu Yu was laughing, they knew that something good must have happened to him. A few minutes later, Lu Yu finally stopped his crazy laughter. Looking at everyone's puzzled expression, Lu Yu didn't explain the reason. Instead, he announced the results of this round to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, the second round of the Alchemy Conference has come to an end. Yu Defa and Chu Si had a bet. Although Udefa concocted an Emperor-level high-level fire spirit pill with 4 pill veins, Chu Ci concocted an Emperor-level high-level fire spirit pill with 5 pill veins. According to the characteristics of the 2 pills, as well as their levels and qualities, the final winner is Chu Ci. And the bets of this bet will belong to the winner. As he spoke, everyone's gaze subconsciously turned towards Udefa. Feeling the crowd's gaze, Udefa nodded with a disappointed face. Then, he flipped his left hand and a broken but crystal-clear small pagoda appeared. Wong! Just like before, the spiritual power within 1,000 feet radius was completely devoured by the small tower the moment it appeared. At this moment, no one noticed that Lin Ray, who was sitting at the side, was very excited. He was determined to get the small pagoda. He wouldn't give up until he got it. And now, the small pagoda was his. Thanks. At this moment, looking at the winnings, Chu Ci's face was full of smiles. He was very happy because he had completed the task given to him by Lin Ray. At the same time, he was happy that his alchemy skills had finally stabilized at the level of a high-grade alchemist. Then, Chu Ci reached out to take the small pagoda. However, the moment his hand was about to touch the small pagoda, Udefa withdrew his hand. Seeing this, the smile on Linley's face suddenly vanished. His expression turned grim, and a murderous aura began to emanate from his body. I'm going to kill you now. He was ready to kill Udefa at any time. Of course, before that, he still wanted to see what tricks Udefa was playing. At this time, Chu Ci's hand was still in the air. He looked at Chu Ci with a cold expression and said, "Hey boy, don't be stubborn. You will die if you do." At this moment, Chu Ci was angry. He thought he could get the small pagoda, but when he thought of Udefa suddenly taking it back, he couldn't tolerate it anymore. After all, the small pagoda was something Lin Ray wanted. Even if he had to kill the person in front of him, he had to get the small pagoda. At this moment, the middle stage God Emperor cultivation was activated by Chu Ci. At that moment, a world-destroying suppression suppressed everyone present. This was especially true for Udefa. This action was all caused by him, and he was close to it. Thus, he didn't feel it all. Seeing Chu Ci angry so easily and feeling as if a mountain was pressing down on him, Udefa smiled bitterly and shook his head. He wanted to explain, "Boy, don't you think you're asking for it? If you wanted to give it to me, wouldn't it be over? Why did you have to make it so unpleasant?" Looking at Udefa, Chu Ci walked step by step to his side. Seeing the small pagoda hidden in his bosom, Chu Ci directly grabbed the small pagoda. After that, his body flashed and returned to his original position. Only at this moment did Chu Ci feel at ease after grabbing the small pagoda. Keep. Since the small pagoda was taken back, Chu Ci naturally had no reason to suppress the crowd. He immediately retracted his pressure and cultivation. Finally, he glanced at the crowd with an apologetic look. After he was done, he didn't even look at Udefa. Instead, he turned around and walked towards Lin Ray. "Hey, Dao friend, wait. I have something to say. Please don't listen to my explanation." At this moment, seeing that Chu Ci didn't even look at him, Udefa became anxious. He didn't care if Chu Ci would kill him for his recklessness. Just like this, his body flashed, and he arrived in front of Chu Ci. In the end, what shocked everyone was that the moment Udefa arrived in front of Chu Ci, he directly knelt on the ground and spread his arms. It was a posture that said he wouldn't get up if Chu Ci didn't listen. Seeing him act so shamelessly, Chu Ci was stunned. He didn't expect a dignified high-level emperor-level alchemist to act like this. The ancients said that a man had gold under his knees, but now, what do you want? Looking at him, Chu Ci said impatiently, "You were the one who said you wanted to bet. Now that you've lost, you don't want to admit it. Let me tell you, it's impossible. I'm taking the small pagoda. If you want to take it back, unless you can beat me." At this moment, Chu Ci looked at Udefa with a serious face. Of course, Chu Ci knew that Udefa was no match for him. That was why he made such an unreasonable request. No, Udefa, who was still on the ground, immediately shook his head and denied Chu Si's words. No? Then you are? I want that Huyang pill of yours. Although I'm an alchemist, I am still unable to concoct such a high-quality medicinal pill with 5 pill veins. Thus, saying this, Udefa laughed and rubbed his hands, looking like he was asking for it. Phew. So it's the Huyang pill, I thought. At this moment, Chu Si realized that Udefa wanted his Huyang pill. He couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. Yes, I want the Huyang pill. I wonder if fellow Taoist Chu Si can give it to me. Of course, I can use something of equivalent value to exchange for it. Saying this, Udefa's expression was full of desire. Seeing Udefa like this, Chu Si thought for a while and said, Okay, I agree to the exchange. However, you have to let me give the small pagoda to my young master first. We can talk about the Huyang pill later. What do you think? Sure. Hearing Chu Si's agreement, Udefa stood up with a happy smile on his face. Okay. Nodding, he walked quickly to Lin Ray and handed the small pagoda to him. His attitude was very respectful. Young master here. Okay. Lin Ray didn't think too much and directly held the small pagoda tightly in his hand. Then, he waved his hand and dismissed Udefa. He knew that Udefa wanted the Huyang pill, so he didn't keep him any longer and dismissed him. That's right, it's him. I didn't think that this guy would come as well. At this moment, the little dragon suddenly appeared and stood in front of Lin Ray. It looked excitedly at the small pagoda in Lin Ray's hand. At this moment, on the other side, Chu Si, who had left Lin Ray's side, came to Udefa's side. Looking at him, Chu Si said, Speak, what do you plan to exchange for my Huyang pill? I guarantee that you'll be satisfied. Udefa chuckled. Then, with a flip of his hand, a red fruit the size of a fist appeared in his hand. The smell of blood. The moment the red fruit appeared, the smell of blood wafted from it. That's right, it's indeed the smell of blood. Looking at Chu Si, Udefa introduced it to her. I don't know what this fruit is called, but I do know that it is extremely valuable. Moreover, it appeared together with the small tower. If it wasn't for the smell of blood on its body, I would have directly eaten it back then. Hearing this, Chu Si walked forward and lowered her head to observe the fruit closely. At this moment, the closer she got to the fruit, the thicker the smell of blood became. It was as if she was immersed in blood, and it was a nauseating feeling. Blood plasma fruit? At this moment, the little dragon, who was standing in front of Lin Ray and looking excitedly at the small pagoda in Lin Ray's hand, suddenly smelled the smell of blood. The name blood plasma fruit involuntarily appeared in her mind. Blood plasma fruit? Hearing the little dragon's mumbling, Lin Ray asked curiously. Chapter 738. Hearing Lin Ray's question, the little dragon smiled and began to explain. The blood plasma fruit is an incredible existence. It has only one effect, but it's the best thing for you. Lin Ray's face was filled with curiosity. The blood plasma fruit is a divine fruit that can increase the power of one's bloodline. It's very useful for you now. Your bloodline is still in a dormant state. If you consume the blood plasma fruit, your bloodline will awaken. At that time, you'll benefit immensely. Hearing this, Lin Ray's face was filled with indescribable joy. All right, I understand. With that, Lin Ray transmitted his voice to Chu Si. Chu Si, exchange with him. This thing is beneficial to me. I understand, young master. Chu Si never dared to disobey Lin Ray's orders. Even if it cost him his life, he would slit his own throat without any hesitation or complaint when he heard that Lin Ray needed this red fruit. Chu Si hurriedly agreed to Udefa's request. All right, I'll use this fruit of yours to exchange with me. Although I don't know what it is, it can emit the smell of blood. It's a rare foreign object. With that, Chu Si took out a Huyang pill that he had just refined and handed it to Udefa. Really? Udefa was a little surprised by Chu Si's straightforwardness. He had said before that this matter might not be so easy to settle, but he hadn't expected that he would really use this unknown fruit to exchange for the pill he had been dreaming of. Of course, but if you don't want to exchange, I can. Whoosh. Just as Udefa's face was filled with excitement, Chu Si teased him. But before he could finish his sentence, the Huyang pill in his hand had disappeared. Instead, the fiery red fruit appeared in his hand. Seeing this, Chu Si did not waste any more words with him. He walked to Lin Rei's side and handed the blood plasma fruit to him. Young master, your subordinate has fulfilled his mission. Looking at the blood fruit, Lin Rei nodded. Not bad. You did very well in this matter. After saying that, Lin Rei directly took the blood fruit in his hand and immediately fed it to the system before handing it over to the little dragon. Little dragon, keep this for now. When we go to the saint's world, use it as food to strengthen the power of my bloodline. Looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon nodded with a gratified expression. That's right. That's what I originally thought too. All right. I'll give it to you when you break through to the saint stage and reach the saint world. With that said, the little dragon casually placed the fruit in front of him. Suddenly, the blood fruit disappeared. Lin Rei, who had been paying attention to the little dragon, saw the little dragon's move and immediately had a plan in mind. I'm telling you, I'm not going to teach you this. You'll have it when you get to Hongming, so rest. Don't think about these messy things anymore. At this moment, the little dragon was like a worm in Ruo Lin's stomach. He knew what Lin Rei was thinking and promptly advised him. Hearing the little dragon speak his mind, Lin Rei awkwardly nodded with a smile and said goodbye. All right, I won't talk to you anymore. This is the last round. After that, it's time to fuse with the Eye of Tendo. Thank you for your hard work. TSK, hearing Lin Rei's words, the little dragon rolled his eyes at him and immediately teased. As long as you don't cause me any trouble in the future, I'll be thankful. Looking at the little dragon's reaction, Lin Rei didn't say anything and directly exited the space. Because he knew that the little dragon said that because it didn't want him to have any psychological burden. When Lin Rei returned to his body, he suddenly heard Lu Yu's voice. Lin Rei was taken aback, but he soon understood. It turned out that the third round had begun. However, he didn't expect that there would only be a short break between the rounds. This was naturally nothing to an alchemist like him. But to Chu Si, although it was considered an experience, it was extremely taxing on her mind. The third round has begun. This is the finals. I will set the questions, and you will refine the pills. Whoever can refine the better grade and quality will be the champion of the alchemy conference and will also receive the rewards of the conference. At this point, everyone's eyes fell on Chu Si, who was standing behind Lin Rei. This was because in everyone's hearts, there was no one who could be compared to Chu Si. With his skill in refining top-grade emperor-grade pills and 5 pill patterns, the one who would be injured in the end would be his competitor. At this moment, everyone couldn't help but look at Chu Si's competitor with pity. Speaking of it, it was rather strange. This time around, the remaining person was actually a woman. Furthermore, no one had expected that she would become one of the final victors of the 2 matches that had been completely ordinary in the previous 2 matches. Even Lin Rei felt a little strange. He had tried to check the woman's cultivation, but on the surface, the result was the same. She was a mid-stage divine monarch. However, Lin Rei felt that her cultivation was probably higher than that. System, check that woman's information. I want to know everything about her. Looking at the woman competing with Chu Si, Lin Rei couldn't help but activate the system. Ding dong, please wait a moment. System is checking. Hearing the system's reply, Lin Rei's lips curled up slightly, revealing a mysterious smile. 1 minute later, ding dong, checking completed. Do you wish to check? Yes, check. After saying that, a screen appeared in his mind, and the woman's information appeared on it. Damn, it can't be. When Lin Rei saw the woman's information on the screen, Lin Rei couldn't help but curse. He was even more shocked. At this moment, the screen said, Hua Yuan, female, 6,321 years old, Great Circle God Emperor, High Venerable Great Alchemist, daughter of Emperor Hua, the Hua family of the Holy World. Fire, wood, and thunder, 3 top-grade spiritual roots and top-grade comprehension ability. Seeing this, Lin Rei was completely stunned. He thought that this woman was from a big power and that her cultivation was high. He also thought that her Dan realm cultivation wasn't the mid-stage emperor grade that she seemed to be on the surface. But he never thought that this woman was from the Holy World and that her alchemy Dao was about the same as his. Moreover, her alchemy Dao was 1 level higher than his. After seeing all of Hua Yuan's information, Lin Rei couldn't stay calm. He wanted to get the sacred medicine as a reward, so he couldn't lose. Okay, the 3rd round will officially start now. Just when Lin Rei was thinking of a solution, he heard Lu Yu's voice announcing the start of the 3rd round. Instantly, Lin Rei was shocked. Without thinking, he said directly, "Stop." As soon as he said that, everyone's gaze gathered on Lin Rei. Their eyes were filled with doubt and confusion. They didn't understand why Lin Rei would call for a stop at this critical moment. Feeling everyone's puzzled gaze, Lin Rei laughed. Then, he stood up and took a step forward. When he appeared again, he was beside Chu Ci. "You go down first. This woman is not simple. You are not her opponent." Lin Rei transmitted his voice to Chu Ci. Oh. Hearing Lin Rei's transmission, Chu Ci turned to look at Hua Yuan in surprise. Then, he was filled with curiosity. As far as he could remember, Linley had never done something like good enough before. But from Linley's serious tone, he knew that this was not a simple matter. Then, he didn't refute. He nodded to Hua Yuan and retreated behind Lin Rei. Then, he stood respectfully behind Lin Rei and didn't say a word. This Lin Rei, my friend, what do you mean by?" At this moment, Lu Yu hesitated for a while. In the end, he went up to Lin Rei and questioned him. However, it was better to say that he was asking for instructions. After all, at this moment, Lu Yu's attitude towards Lin Rei was like that of a grandfather and a grandson. Damn, what's wrong? Did Lu Yu's personality change? Where's his usual arrogance and disdain? Where's his usual arrogance? Yeah, this is unbelievable. He's actually like this. Is this a 1,000-year-old story? Yeah, that's right. Even our Rain Sect's Sect Master is respectful when he sees Lu Yu. But now, at this moment, after seeing Lu Yu's attitude towards Lin Rei, the crowd started to discuss. However, the majority of them said that Lu Yu's personality had changed. He was no longer the same as before. At this moment, hearing the crowd's discussion, Lu Yu's attitude was still respectful. After all, he knew the alchemy skills of the alchemy expert before him. "I wish to have an alchemy competition with this young lady. Is that possible?" Lin Rei didn't waste time with Lu Yu's request. He directly spoke his mind. "What? You wish to have an alchemy competition with her?" At this moment, hearing Lin Rei's words, Lu Yu thought he heard wrong. Then, he repeated himself. His expression was filled with confusion and confusion. He thought he had heard wrong. "That's right," Linley said, frowning impatiently. "I want to ask this alchemist for some advice on pill concocting, as well as some knowledge of the Tao of alchemy. I just want to ask him one question. Is that all right?" Since this fellow Taoist wants to have an alchemy competition with this young lady, then let's have a go. At this moment, while Lu Yu was in a daze and didn't know how to answer, Hua Yuan, who had heard everything from the beginning, spoke. "What? Competition?" The moment Hua Yuan's words entered Lu Yu's ears, Lu Yu looked at her with a strange gaze. He felt that if he wasn't crazy, then she was crazy. Others might not know about Lin Rei's alchemy realm, but he knew. Now, when he heard that this girl wanted to have an alchemy competition with Lin Rei, Lu Yu couldn't help but sneer in his heart. All right. Since fellow Taoist Hua has said so, then it's settled. At this moment, Lin Rei was delighted. Lin Rei, who was already in the honorable realm, wanted to find an opponent who was on par with him. It was extremely difficult, especially in the realm of the gods. Now, there was finally someone who was on par with him. How could he be so foolish as to let go of this opportunity? Looking at the current situation, everyone was stunned. Li was stunned. He felt that he was in a bad mood. However, there was nothing he could do. Since the person involved had agreed, he had no reason to stop them. When he came back to his senses, he glanced at the crowd. Then, he cleared his throat and announced, "Since the two of you have agreed, then the competition will continue. The rewards will remain unchanged. As for who will be the champion, it will depend on their luck." At this moment, everyone was looking forward to Lin Ray. However, among everyone, except for Lin Ray, no one noticed Hua Yuan's ugly expression. At this moment, when Hua Yuan heard the person in front of her call out her surname, her body tensed up. She was filled with vigilance. One had to know that no one in the realm of the gods knew her surname. Moreover, her name in the realm of the gods was forged. Those who knew her surname were all big shots in the sacred world. But now, he had appeared in the realm of the gods. At this moment, she couldn't help but be vigilant. At the same time, along with her vigilance, she was filled with curiosity. She wanted to know who the person in front of her was to know her surname. Knowing that Hua Yuan was relying on him, Lin Li transmitted a message to her. "Hua Yuan, daughter of Hua, emperor from the Hua clan of the Desolate State in the sacred world. She is an upper paragon alchemist and a late-stage god emperor. Although I don't want to know why you came to the realm of the gods, I must win this competition. Moreover, there's no one in the realm of the gods who can discuss alchemy with me. Now that you have appeared, so..." At this point, Lin Ray chuckled. At this moment, he didn't hide anything and directly told her everything he knew. At that moment, when she heard the blind young man say her identity and everything about her, she was shocked. She was completely shocked. She knew that it was definitely not a coincidence. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for him to know her father's name and that she was from the Barren State. At this moment, Hua Yuan was even more vigilant against Lin Ray. But along with the increase in vigilance, her curiosity also increased greatly. You don't have to be surprised. You don't have to guess how I know, and you don't have to guess that I'm from the sacred world, because none of these are true. The reason why I know your identity is naturally because I have my ways. Similarly, I won't harm you. You can rest assured." Lin Ray, who knew Hua Yuan's thoughts, opened up all his goodwill without holding back. Indeed, after hearing Lin Ray's words, although she couldn't let down her guard against him completely, it was still better than before. You're very interesting." Looking at Lin Ray, Hua Yuan said, "To think that a god emperor from the firmament would know where I came from and even be able to accurately point out my surname. Although I don't know if I can trust your words, you're not simple at all. My curiosity toward you has grown even stronger." Looking at her, Lin Ray couldn't help but tease her. "Miss Hua, don't you know that a woman will fall in love with a man because of curiosity?" Chapter 739. Hearing Lin Ray's words, Hua Yuan was slightly angered. She stared at Lin Ray fiercely and said, "I've seen his eloquence, but I don't know how good he is with his hands." After saying that, without waiting for Lin Ray's reply, Hua Yuan's body flashed and instantly appeared below the stage. Seeing this, Lin Ray chuckled and did not say anything. His body flashed and disappeared. When the crowd saw him again, he was not far away from Hua Yuan. Looking at the two of them, Lu Yu smiled bitterly and said, All right. The pill for the third round is a top-grade Emperor-level pill called the 6th Transformation Golden Pill. Whoever concocts it well and has the most pill veins will be the winner of this alchemy conference." After Lu Yu finished speaking, Lin Ray and Hua Yuan did not even look at him. They were minding their own business and choosing the pills they needed in their storage rings. As for the 6th Transformation Golden Pill that Lu Yu mentioned, Lin Ray and Hua Yuan could only say haha. Although that pill was rare in the eyes of ordinary people, in the eyes of Lin Ray and Hua Yuan, it was not much different from the mortal-level pill of rejuvenation. At this moment, Hua Yuan could not help but glance at Lin Ray. Her eyes were filled with seriousness. This guy. I originally wanted to get the Saint Herb to increase my strength so that I can go home earlier. But why did he appear? At this moment, Hua Yuan felt very sullen. Originally, she wanted to get the Saint Herb easily and find a quiet place to increase her cultivation. But now, Her expectations were dashed. At the same time, she knew that the blind young man in front of her was not simple. She even felt a sense of oppression from him. She had to be careful because this was the first time she felt this way ever since she came down from the holy world. However, she was starting to like this feeling a little. After all, when a person was invincible, they would become arrogant and ignorant. They might even cause their cultivation methods and combat strength to regress. Therefore, although Lin Rei's appearance made her feel a little pressured, she couldn't help but feel excited. Lin Rei also felt the same way. After all, in the divine realm, other than some top-level ultimate gods who did not show themselves, the others were basically non-existent to him. Hua Yuan's appearance was just as Hua Yuan had thought. She was a sparring partner, or even an opponent. Thinking up to here, Lin Rei could not help but be extremely excited. This kind of feeling he had not appeared for a very long time already. At this moment, he took out the materials he wanted to refine pills from the storage ring. The moment he exited the ring, he felt that Hua Yuan was looking at him. In response, Lin Rei turned around and faced her with his divine sense. He smiled and teased, "What? Have you fallen in love with me so quickly? But you don't have to be like this. After all, the two of us are opponents now, so be more reserved. I don't like that kind of open-minded woman." Lin Rei's words entered the ears of the onlookers. For a moment, everyone was stunned on the spot. Their mouths were wide open, and their facial expressions were even more exaggerated. They were like walking emojis. Of course, the person in question was so angry at Lin Rei's words that she stomped her feet like a little girl. Although she looked angry, her appearance and overall temperament. However, Lin Rei could not help but be stunned on the spot. Lecture. Hua Yuan rolled her eyes at Lin Rei's current expression and did not say anything else after Lin Rei's expression. She turned around, took her own spiritual medicine, and started her refining process. Lin Rei, who came back to his senses, looked at Hua Yuan's actions and chuckled. Then, he started refining too. This time, he planned to use his own strength to refine the supreme level 9 revolutions mixed energy pill. Moreover, he also planned to use the chaotic energy in the system and the training field. After all, the main catalyst for refining the 9 revolutions mixed energy pill was the chaotic energy. So, the effect of the 9 revolutions mixed energy pill was something that all the gods in the realm of the gods dreamed of. Even if it was a sage, Lin Rei dared to guarantee that when they saw the 9 revolutions mixed energy pill, they would want to kill and steal it. After all, when one reached the sage realm, although they also needed spiritual energy for cultivation, the chaotic energy was the best thing for them to improve their cultivation. However, the chaotic energy was extremely rare, so that was why Lin Rei dared to guarantee that when a sage saw the 9 revolutions mixed energy pill, they would want to kill him. Boom! At this moment, the illusory spirit blood flame rushed out of his palm. This time, Lin Rei did not plan to use the pill furnace. After all, at his level, the pill furnace was useless to him. On the contrary, he could borrow the power of heaven and earth around him, and he could do whatever he wanted without the risk of the furnace exploding. When Hua Yuan saw Lin Li's actions, she too did not want to be outdone. She immediately gave up on the cauldron. Just like Lin Li, she started to concoct pills out of thin air. At this moment, the actions of these two people deeply attracted the attention of everyone present. Damn, they're giving up on the pill furnace? Nonsense, isn't it obvious? But for a pill refiner to give up on the pill furnace, I don't think even the Tourism Association's president could do it. How could they? Could it be? At this moment, everyone started to make wild guesses. At this moment, Zhuge Ho, who was sitting beside Lin Rei, thought of something terrifying, but he was not sure. What? Could it be something? When everyone heard Zhuge Ho's words, they turned around and fixed their eyes on him. Their eyes seemed to be saying, "Hurry up and say it. If you don't, we'll attack you together." Zhuge Ho did not have the courage to become enemies with so many sects present. In the end, he had no choice but to sigh and tell them his guess. "I agree with my ancestor. He said that as long as a pill refiner reaches the honorable level, they can refine pills out of thin air. This way, they can borrow the power of heaven and earth, and the pills they refine can be said to be the best of the best. Even the Emperor God would find it hard to get one. Hiss, honorable level? Hearing Zhuge Ho's words, everyone couldn't help but gasp. If what he said was true, it meant that Lin Rei was a genuine honorable level pill refiner. However, what surprised them more was that the participant was also an honorable level pill refiner. This was something that they never expected. As for Lin Rei, they were naturally used to all the surprises from him. Therefore, they were only shocked for a moment when they realized that he was an honorable level pill refiner. As for the woman who had suddenly appeared, no one knew how she had registered herself. However, they were certain that none of the sects present knew who she was. At this moment, everyone was both shocked and surprised. After all, such an honorable level pill refiner was placed in front of them. If they could pull her into their group, then, thinking of this, everyone couldn't help but think about it. However, they didn't know that besides being an honorable level pill refiner, Hua Yuan was also a genuine Great Circle Martial Emperor expert. If they knew, they would have thrown their previous thoughts to the back of their minds. They wouldn't even dare to think about it. Of course, the person who guessed that Hua Yuan was an honorable level pill refiner was none other than Lu Yu. He was so angry and disdainful of her. Now he was slapped in the face. What the hell is going on? Why is it that pill refiners are worthless now? How could there be so many of them? Moreover, even an honorable level pill refiner was like this. The appearance of one before was already shocking enough. But now, another one appeared. Moreover, they seemed to be the same age. This was something that he couldn't accept. He couldn't accept such a strange thing. Looking at the two people refining pills in the air, Lu Yu abandoned the desire in his heart. One had to know that this kind of scene wasn't something that could be seen all the time. Instead of being extremely envious at the side, he might as well properly observe this pill refinement. Who knows? He might be able to learn a little bit from it. He believed that even if it was just a little bit, it would still be able to benefit him greatly. At this moment, Lin Rei was refining the 9 Revolution Mixed Essence pill. Except for the primal chaos chi, he threw all the ingredients into the illusory spirit blood fire. He wanted to refine the pill as soon as possible. He didn't want to lose to a girl who was also from the holy world. Not only would it be a disgrace to his identity as an honorable level pill refiner, but it would also cause him to lose face. This was something that he couldn't allow. 9 Dragon Refinement Art. Refine for me. At this moment, Lin Rei couldn't help but use the pill refinement art that he had never used before. This time, he was determined to get the sane elixir of the ending. Of course, Hua Yuan wouldn't show any weakness. She threw all the ingredients she refined into the pill fire, just like Lin Rei. She was going all out at this moment. Her reason was the same as Lin Rei's. She wanted the sane elixir of the ending. Because she needed it, she wouldn't lose. Moreover, as a member of the Holy World's Hua clan, she felt that face and the reputation of her clan were the most important. As time flew by, in the blink of an eye, 1.5 hours had passed. At this moment, the two of them had refined the chi liquid and put into the pill bottle. I didn't expect a person like you to appear in a small place like the divine world. I admit that I have underestimated you. However, I won't lose. Don't worry. She became anxious and panicked when she saw the blind young man complete the tempering process with her. This completely confirmed the trace of pressure she felt from him earlier. Hearing Hua Yuan's voice transmission, Lin Rei was stunned. When he came back to his senses, Lin Rei couldn't help but say, "Although I don't know how big the holy world is since you have come to the divine world, please. You must have a reason for coming here. Moreover, the divine world is vast and boundless. Are you sure you can't explore all of it? If you can't, then shut your body and refine the pills. You're just an ordinary upper honorable level pill refiner. Since you want to challenge me, it's fine as long as you don't cry in the end." Seeing that she couldn't win against him, Hua Yuan was speechless and continued to refine the pills. Regarding this, Lin Rei kept his mouth shut. Since she didn't know what was good for her, Lin Rei would still be polite. Immediately, he activated the Nine-Dragon Fusion Technique. The spiritual energy of a middle-stage god emperor rushed out of his body. Under Lin Rei's control, the spiritual energy condensed into 9 five-clawed golden dragons. At this moment, the 9 five-clawed golden dragons rushed into the pill fire and started to fuse with the refined qi liquid. This was an extremely brilliant technique. Lu Yu, who had been watching from the side, was completely stunned. His face was filled with excitement as he stared at Lin Li's every move. At this moment, Lu Yu was staring at the 9 five-clawed golden dragons within the Dream Spirit Bloodfire, his face filled with excitement. Lin Rei didn't stop Lu Yu from watching. After all, there was nothing to learn. Without the permission of the system, even if he learned it, it would be taken back by the system in the end. Therefore, Lin Rei wasn't worried about this. Little by little, the more than 70 drops of qi liquid in the illusory spirit blood fire started to fuse under the control of the 9 five-clawed golden dragons. At this moment, Lin Rei separated a strand of his consciousness and entered the system's martial arts field. Looking at the gray, fairy-like martial arts field, Lin Rei didn't hesitate. He flashed into the center of the formation and activated the formation. He guided a strand of primal chaos qi into the 9 revolution mixed essence pill without anyone noticing. This strand of primal chaos qi was the most important medicinal primer for the 9 revolution mixed essence pill. Therefore, at this moment, after the addition of primal chaos qi, the pill's formation speed greatly increased by more than 2 times. It's almost done. The sacred medicine will be mine in the end. Looking at the pill that was about to be formed, Lin Rei felt an indescribable joy in his heart. On the other side, Hua Yuan was trying her best to win. After all, the sacred medicine was simply a necessity for her to go home. She couldn't give it up. However, she couldn't be like Lin Rei, multitasking. It was even more impossible for her to have the illusory spirit blood fire like Lin Rei. So, bam, bam, bam. At this moment, Hua Yuan, who was sitting cross-legged and activating the flame in front of her, suddenly woke up. She opened her eyes, and a ray of light instantly shot out from her eyes. Then, under everyone's gaze, she gave up on activating the flame. Instead, she stood up and slapped the flame with her palm. At this moment, a strange sound of collision spread throughout the entire alchemy guild. Even Lin Rei, who was at the side, was startled by this. Lin Rei released his consciousness and looked at Hua Yuan's actions. His eyes were filled with doubt. However, he saw that the pill contained in the flame in front of Hua Yuan was slowly taking shape under her continuous slapping. Moreover, what shocked Lin Rei even more was that in the process of forming the pill, she had completed the division of the pill at the same time. This method was something that even an honorable alchemist who had been in the honorable level for a long time couldn't do. Today, Hua Yuan did it, and she did it so well. Lin Rei couldn't help but admire her. Chapter 740. What more can I ask for from such an opponent? Lin Rei exclaimed as he looked at Hua Yuan. No, I can't fall behind. Hua Yuan's actions gave Lin Rei unprecedented pressure. The holy world was indeed the holy world. A random person who came down was already so strong. It seemed like he had to work harder to improve his cultivation in the future. Hua Yuan didn't know what Lin Rei was thinking. Moreover, he had overestimated the people in the holy world. There were also people with low cultivation in the holy world, not just Sage Realm experts. Some Sage Realm experts would even send their descendants to the lower world to train. However, not all of them were so strong. In the holy world, the Hua family of the Barren State was a force to be reckoned with. No one dared to offend them. Even the Tao Integration Realm experts in the holy world would dare to offend them. Hua Yuan was a top-notch talent in the Hua family. The reason why she came to the holy world was because she had snuck out. Therefore, 9 Dragons Pill Formation Technique. Condense. At this moment, Lin Rei didn't hold back anymore. He directly used his supreme-grade Honorable Realm alchemy skills and the illusory spirit blood fire. In an instant, the elixir in the illusory spirit blood fire started to take shape rapidly. This scene made Lu Yu, who was watching quietly and comprehending a lot, smile bitterly. Sigh, it's too fast. At this moment, Lin Rei's hand speed was so fast that Lu Yu, who had been comprehending, retracted his gaze. With his supreme-grade alchemy skills, it was already impressive for him to be able to see a supreme-grade honorable alchemy skills clearly. Moreover, Lin Rei had slowed down. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to see it clearly. At this moment, if Hua Yuan hadn't used her full strength, he wouldn't have been able to see it clearly. At this moment, both of them had revealed their identities. However, the people who were watching were the most shocked. Everyone couldn't help but look at Lin Rei and Hua Yuan in awe of their supreme-grade alchemy skills. No matter which world it was, alchemy masters, array masters, weapon refiners, and talisman masters were all highly sought after, and no one dared to offend them. They had skills that ordinary people did not have, and even top-notch experts did not dare to provoke them. Just like Lin Rei's identity as a venerated great alchemist, even the Tao fruit saints of the holy world wouldn't dare to offend him. After all, having a venerated great alchemist was equivalent to having a powerful sect. Time slowly passed as the two of them competed. In the blink of an eye, 6 hours were almost up. At this time, the two of them had reached the end. The pill is done. Well, right at this moment, Linley let out a loud shout, and then the mirage bloodfire emitted a buzzing sound. Afterwards, the alchemical fire disappeared, and 6-9 revolutions mixed yuan pills with 10 markings floated there on their own. At this moment, everyone's gaze fell onto Lin Rei's pill. Suddenly, when they saw the 10 lines on the pill, they couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with shock. Previously, when Chu Si had concocted a pill with 5 patterns, everyone had already been stunned. But now, Chu Si had concocted a pill with 10 patterns. Even in the Saints' realm, this was enough to shock the world. Seeing this, the first thought in everyone's mind was to try their best to rope in this person and not to offend him. Because they couldn't afford to offend him. Not only was he in the Emperor realm, he was also a venerated great alchemist, and they had heard that he was a weapon refiner who could refine supreme, grade divine weapons. No matter what kind of identity he had, he was enough to dominate a region in the divine world. Just as everyone was shocked, on the other side, Hua Yuan's pill refinement had also finished. At this moment, everyone withdrew from the shock of seeing Lin Rei and focused their attention on Hua Yuan and her pill. At this moment, there were 4 red medicinal pellets with 10 pill veins floating in the air. What the hell is going on? Both of them have 10 pill marks. Could it be that refining 10 pill marks is now very common? At this moment, everyone couldn't help but be shocked again. They didn't expect this mysterious woman to be the same as Lin Rei, refining a pill with 10 lines. At this moment, everyone's eyes were filled with interest and shock. What was interesting was that both of them had 10 lines. They wanted to see whose pill would be better. What was shocking was that this woman was the same as Lin Rei, able to refine 10 lines. If it was Linley, they had already been shocked enough before, so they were already numb to it. However, this woman was different. She had appeared out of nowhere, and her background was unknown. Just as everyone was guessing and watching the show, Lin Rei turned around. His divine sense instantly rushed out and landed on Hua Yuan's pill. Linley wasn't surprised that she was able to refine a pill with 10 pill veins. However, he was surprised that her pill was infinitely close to a supreme grade exalted grade pill, and her dance stage was only a high grade exalted grade alchemist. From this, it could be seen that Hua Yuan's alchemy skills and talent were both top-notch. Lin Rei was very certain about this. At this moment, looking at Hua Yuan's pill, Lin Rei recognized it with a single glance. It was a high-grade venerable level pill, life-continuing pill. Although the name was tacky, the medicinal properties of the pill were extremely powerful. Its use was just like its name. It was to extend the life of cultivators or living creatures that were about to die. At the same time, this heaven-defying pill had a flaw. That was, after consuming the life-continuing pill, although it could restore one's vitality, they could only live for a year. After that, they would turn into ashes and die without a complete corpse. Therefore, although this pill was heaven-defying, no one would be willing to consume it unless they were forced to. Otherwise, no one would touch this pill. Looking at this pill, Lin Ray's face revealed a smile. To be able to refine this pill, the spiritual herbs required were something that even Lin Ray would be jealous of. He didn't expect that such a small competition would cause her to use such a precious elixir. This caused Linley to be quite surprised. At the same time, Hua Yuan, who felt Lin Ray's divine sense, also looked at Lin Ray's pill. In the next moment, Hua Yuan frowned and looked at Lin Ray with a puzzled expression. When she saw Lin Ray's pill, she could feel the enormous energy coming from the pill. However, she couldn't tell what the pill was. The world was full of strange things. It was impossible for her to recognize all the pills. Oh, why? You don't recognize it? Knowing Hua Yuan's puzzlement, Lin Ray didn't hide it and said directly, So what if I don't recognize it? I admit that I don't recognize all the pills. Looking at Lin Ray, Hua Yuan couldn't help but roll her eyes. However, I can feel the enormous and endless energy in your pill. This energy is very familiar, as if I've seen it somewhere before. However, I can't remember it now. Lin Ray was very sure about what Hua Yuan said. After all, he was born in the holy world and had definitely seen the chaotic energy. The pill that I refined is called the 9 Revolution Mixed Energy Pill. It is a supreme, honorable grade pill with 10 elixir markings. Just based on this point, Miss Hua, you have already lost. Therefore, I won this round, Lin Ray said calmly. Looking at Lin Ray, Hua Yuan was speechless. After all, they had made a promise before. With that, Linley put away the pills. With a smile on his face, he walked towards Lu Yu. Oh, right. Just when Lin Ray was walking towards Lu Yu, he suddenly stopped and said to Hua Yuan without turning his head, My mixed energy pill contains the chaotic energy. Therefore, no matter what, you're going to lose. Don't be unconvinced. This is my ability. If you want to win, I advise you to go back and practice more. What? Chaotic energy? At this moment, Hua Yuan was shocked by what she had just heard. Others might not know, but she knew very well that the primal chaos chi was extremely useful after reaching the Sage Realm. Even the old ancestor of the Hua clan yearned for the primal chaos chi. Now, she heard from a blind young man from the divine world that the pills he refined contained the primal chaos chi. This, even if it wasn't her, anyone from the holy world would be shocked by what he had just said. The chaotic energy was extremely precious. While Hua Yuan was still in shock, Lin Ray had already arrived beside Lu Yu. Looking at him, Lin Ray smiled and said, I won. Give me the prize for the first place. Okay. Regarding Lin Ray's words just now, everyone present had heard Linley's words clearly, including Lu Yu. Upon hearing Linley's request, Lu Yu immediately prepared to take out the reward. However, at this moment, Hua Yuan's voice was heard again. No, you are bullying me. You are bullying me in my field of expertise. I won't accept this. Seeing Lu Yu stop, Lin Ray frowned and turned around. Looking at Hua Yuan, who was pouting angrily, Lin Ray was stunned for a moment. However, he quickly regained his senses. Looking at her, Linley had a look of I'm not convinced on his face. His tone was cold as he said, Little girl, don't try to twist words and force logic. This is the Alchemy Conference. If I don't use this to defeat you, do you think I'll use something else to defeat you? Moreover, why would I do this in your field of expertise? Do you think I am stupid? Or what? At this moment, Hua Yuan was like a duck. I couldn't stop. Lin Ray smiled at this. However, Lin Ray had already agreed to her suggestion in his heart. However, he didn't want to make a move for no reason. If he didn't take out something from before, what would happen? Looking at her, Lin Ray turned around and said to Lu Yu this time, Give it to me. At this moment, the most innocent person was Lu Yu. He was sandwiched between the two strong cultivators and was attacked from both sides. However, he didn't dare to make a sound. He could only grit his teeth and swallow his bitterness. No, tell me, what do you want me to do now? At this moment, Hua Yuan was anxious. She was determined to get the sacred medicine in the prize. No matter the price, she was determined to get it. When she saw Lin Rei pressuring Lu Yu again, Hua Yuan fell into Lin Rei's trap. At this moment, seeing Hua Yuan falling into his trap, he couldn't help but smile. Then, he turned around and said telepathically, because the next thing would involve the matters of the holy world. I'll fight you now, but as a punishment, if you lose, you'll answer my questions unconditionally. But if I lose, I'll give up the first place reward and give you a 9-revolution mixed yuan pill. What do you think? Hearing Lin Li's words, Hua Yuan pondered for a moment, then nodded and said, all right, we'll do as you say. If I lose, I'll answer your questions unconditionally. If you answer, don't go back. Give me the prize for first place, and give me a 9-revolution mixed yuan pill. I won't go back on my words. Seeing how straightforward Lin Rei was, Hua Yuan chuckled. Then, she told him the rules and the scope of the competition. This time, our mental strength is not weak. As an alchemist, I believe that your mental strength is not weak. If I lose this round, I will not only answer your questions, I will also be your maid for 10,000 years and be at your beck and call. Okay. A gentleman's word is as good as a whip. Hearing Hua Yuan's words, Lin Rei was very confident in his mental strength. However, looking at Hua Yuan's confident gaze, Lin Rei couldn't help but be cautious. The atmosphere became solemn once again. At this moment, everyone knew that the competition was about to begin. Immediately, they all retreated from the battle range and used their cultivation to protect themselves and the disciples of their sects within the boundary that they had set up. Competing with me in mental strength. See if I don't kill you. At this moment, Hua Yuan was very confident. She always thought that no one in the divine world would be able to break through her mental strength. Even those who were more powerful than her in alchemy would not be able to do so. Soul-destroying needle go. At this moment, the smoke of battle began. Shapeless long needles suddenly appeared and shot towards his direction. For a moment, Lin Rei was stunned. Looking at the long needles, he could feel the aura of death from them. However, what made him curious was that this was clearly a battle technique. Moreover, it was a mental strength battle technique. He had never experienced such a situation before. Moreover, he had never heard of such a battle technique. This soul-extinguishing needle is a forbidden secret skill that I secretly learned from the library. If it wasn't for the sacred medicine, I wouldn't have done this. However, don't worry. I haven't mastered this soul-extinguishing needle yet. Therefore, I won't kill you. At most, I'll make you unconscious for a while. After that, you will be fine. Looking at the soul-extinguishing needle that she shot out and was about to crush Lin Rei, Hua Yuan couldn't help but sigh. Try to kill me with a mere needle. You have underestimated me. At the same time, you have overestimated yourself. Looking at the pity in Hua Yuan's eyes, Lin Rei was enraged. He didn't waste his breath. Although he didn't know how powerful this thing was, he knew that his spiritual force was comparable to a Tao fruit saint. It wasn't something that a few needles condensed from spiritual force could kill. Chapter 741. What? Sensing Lin Li's confidence, her woman's sixth sense told her that the person in front of her was extremely dangerous. Just as she was about to withdraw her spiritual energy, she felt as if there was a special force binding her, making it impossible for her to move. Hua Yuan was shocked. She looked at Lin Rei with a shocked expression. She did not expect things to turn out this way. It was completely different from what she had imagined. Since you're here, do you think you can leave? Looking at the mental energy needle in front of him, he suddenly activated the devouring heaven art. With a terrifying devouring power, he raised his hand and sucked in the mental energy needle in front of him. No, don't. At this moment, she clearly felt that the energy was the most terrifying devouring power in the world. At this moment, she was afraid. She was really afraid. Unfortunately, it was all too late. Lin Rei did not care about Hua Yuan's pleas for mercy. His face was cold, and his lips curled into a bloodthirsty smile. Suddenly, the devouring heaven art was fully activated, and a tyrannical devouring power was released. The next moment, the mental energy that Hua Yuan used to attack him was completely devoured by Lin Rei's devouring power. It was converted into pure mental energy, replenishing Lin Rei. Who? Sensing that his spiritual energy had suddenly increased, a hint of a smile appeared on Lin Lei's face. He really hoped that he could do this a few more times. That way, his mental energy would increase again, and he would not have to worry about breaking through to the saint level. But at the same time, he knew that it was impossible. After the first time, who would dare to be tricked a second time? Sure enough, just as Lin Rei thought of this, Hua Yuan said, "No more, no more. If I go down again, all my mental energy will be devoured by you." After saying that, Hua Yuan spread out her hands and stepped aside helplessly. She did not speak anymore. Seeing this, Lin Rei could not help but sigh. "AI, forget it. I still wanted to devour more. Since you don't want to give it to me, then forget it." Even though Lin Rei spoke softly, how could Hua Yuan, a grand perfection god emperor, not hear him? Hearing Lin Rei's words, Hua Yuan wanted to give him a good beating. At this moment, Lin Lei no longer paid any attention to Hua Yuan. Instead, he went to Lu Yu's side and asked, "Come, give me the prize for the champion." "All right, please wait a moment." Upon seeing that Lin Rei had won, Lu Yu casually took out a ring and handed it to Lin Rei. "Senior, this is yours," he said fawningly. And, without looking at him, she took the ring and nodded. Then, she walked over to Hua Yuan's side. Even though she had received the prize of the alchemy conference, she had yet to receive her prize. At that moment, when Chu Ci saw Lin Rei's actions, she took a step forward and stood behind him. She stood there respectfully and did not say a word. At that moment, seeing that the alchemy conference had come to a dramatic end, Lu Yu smiled bitterly and said regretfully, "This alchemy conference has come to a successful end. After 100 years, the alchemy conference will be held again. I hope that everyone will participate enthusiastically." After saying that, Lu Yu did not stay any longer. He directly left and walked towards the depths of the alchemy guild. Everyone present did not move, except for Lu Yu. As for them, they wanted to curry favor with Lin Rei, Hua Yuan, and Chu Ci. After all, their alchemy realms were still there. Of course, Chu Ci did not count. However, because he was Lin Rei's follower and could concoct pills with 5 patterns, they would not let go of this opportunity. At that moment, looking at Hua Yuan, Lin Rei was full of questions. Seeing that the people around him had no intention of leaving, Lin Rei waved his hand and an honorable realm array appeared instantly, enveloping Lin Rei and Hua Yuan. This, however, Lin Rei did not want to know, because the array that he casually set up caused an uproar and discussion among the people present. Damn, what an all-round genius. Concocting pills, refining weapons, and now a magic array. How can we live? Boo-hoo. That's right. How can we live like this? This kind of person is the evilest of evilest, the most abnormal of all. Sigh, who said otherwise? What does it mean to be the darling of heaven and earth? That is, at that moment, Chu Ci, who was standing in the magic array, heard the discussions of the people. Suddenly, Chu Ci could not help but raise his chin with a proud expression on his face. It was as if the people were talking about him. At that moment, Zhuge Hoqiao had seen the whole process. At that moment, he was deeply convinced that Lin Rei was not bluffing when he said that he could concoct supreme divine artifacts. He really knew how to concoct supreme divine artifacts. In the next moment, Zhuge Hoqiao could not help but feel excited. When he thought that he would soon have a supreme divine artifact, he did not know what to do. At that moment, in the magic array, Lin Rei looked at Hua Yuan and smiled. He said, "Tell me, why are you in the lower realm? How did you come here? What are your intentions in coming to this alchemy conference? Why did you stop? At that moment, hearing Lin Rei's questions, Hua Yuan looked as if she had lost him and said, "Don't ask anymore. I will not tell you everything." Since she had lost, she had to accept it. After all, this was what she had always believed in since she was young. Seeing how straightforward she was, Lin Rei was naturally happy. At least he did not have to ask her one by one. "My name is Hua Yuan. I come from the barren plain of the Holy World. The barren plain has a sect and a top-notch clan. This clan is our Hua clan. You should know all this, right?" That's right." Linley nodded his head disapprovingly. Indeed, Linley basically knew what she had just said. Looking at his reaction, Hua Yuan looked helpless and tired. "If that's the case, then I will tell you some things that you don't know." At that moment, he could clearly feel the change in Hua Yuan's aura. She was no longer as lively and cute as before. Instead, she became more mature. It was as if Hua Yuan was 18 years old before, and she was now 30 or 40 years old. "Although my clan is the #1 clan in the Barren Plain, in the Holy World, there are some existences in the 10 great continents. The Huang Plain is the lowest out of the 10 plains, while our Desolate Plain is ranked 6th. However, the matters of the clan are not limited to lower worlds. Even the Saints' World is not immune to it," Jin Shun said with a sigh. Hearing this, Lin Rei laughed. "Don't tell me it's a marriage alliance." Sigh. She did not want to admit Lin Rei's words, but it was the truth. Marriage alliance was an unavoidable existence for every clan, including the Holy World, which was a sacred place in everyone's eyes. Hey, it's true. Seeing Hua Yuan sigh, it meant that he had guessed correctly. Immediately, Lin Rei laughed even harder. He did not expect that the Holy World would have such emotional disputes. "Yes, that's right." Looking at Lin Rei, Hua Yuan continued, "Although my clan is powerful and our bloodline is the direct line of descent, my father only has me as a daughter and no son. In order to strengthen the position of the direct line of descent in the clan, my father betrothed me to the #1 clan in the 8th Yu continent, the young master of the Guyu clan, Guyu Lanbing." Isn't that good? The 8th continent? It's only second to the 9th or 10th heavenly layer. It should be very powerful. At this moment, Lin Rei's words were exactly the words of those who had been persuading her. If this was not the divine world, she would probably think that Lin Rei was sent by her father to persuade her. Although the Guyu clan is powerful, Guyu Lanbing is a famous playboy in the Holy World. Just the women by his side are more than 10 times more than the people here. Tell me, can I marry such a person? Such a playboy? How can I give up my life's happiness? At this point, tears flowed down her face. Looking at her, Lin Rei sighed. Sigh. That's how clans are. For their own benefits, they don't care about sacrificing anyone. After all, only power is eternal. Yes. At this moment, Hua Yuan agreed with Lin Rei's words. So, I prepare to leave the Hua clan and wander the Holy World. Although the outside world is full of danger, at least I don't have to marry someone I don't like. Finally, with the help of a servant, I escaped from the Hua clan. But who would have thought that the servant had already become Guyu Lanbing's spy? The reason why he helped me was because he wanted to give me to his master, Guyu Lanbing. Yeah, that's quite tragic. At this moment, Lin Rei couldn't help but admire her luck. Yes, not long after I left the barren state, I met Guyu Lanbing. When he wanted to do something to me, I used a secret technique to escape. Just like that, a chase began. I entered the life of a fugitive, and this fugitive lasted for 1,000 years. During that 1,000 years, I lived in hell. There wasn't a good day, and I didn't have a good meal. After 1,000 years, he finally caught up. Just when I was in despair, I accidentally stepped into a mysterious formation. After that, I fainted. When I woke up, I was already here. After I woke up and asked, I found out that this was the divine world. Just like that, I drifted here for 2,000 years. At this moment, Lin Rei could be said to have heard a person's life story. Such a strange story actually happened to her. Okay, I'm done. Can we leave now? At this moment, Hua Yuan recovered from her memories and said to Lin Rei, Leave? I haven't finished asking. Why are you in such a hurry? Seeing that she was about to leave, Lin Ray couldn't help but stop her. What else do you want to ask? At this moment, Hua Yuan was a little impatient. Nothing. I just want to ask, how's the situation in the heavenly court in the holy world? You know about the heavenly court? At this moment, Hua Yuan, who was originally impatient, was immediately energized the moment she heard this. That's right. Not only do I know about the heavenly court, but I also have a grudge against the master of the heavenly court, Hao Tian. At this moment, when she thought about how her eyes were blinded by Hao Tian, a boundless killing intent uncontrollably emerged. This person, feeling the boundless killing intent, Hua Yuan was stunned. This kind of killing intent, even from her father and the clan leaders of the various large clans, but now she felt it from an emperor god cultivator. What's going on between you and Hao Tian? You're from the divine world, and he's from the holy world. Logically speaking, you two shouldn't have any contact. Of course, at least not now. Hearing Hua Yuan's question, Lin Ray didn't hide anything and immediately told her the story of how he saved Xiefeng. After a few minutes, after listening to Lin Ray's story, Hua Yuan was stunned on the spot. Her expression was filled with disbelief. The master of the Phoenix clan? I didn't expect him to still be alive. She knew about the Phoenix clan. After all, they were both in the holy world, and the Phoenix clan was a ruling existence in the early days of the Eldritch era. All right, quickly tell me, what's Hao Tian's cultivation level now, and how powerful is the heavenly court? At this moment, hearing the question, Hua Yuan didn't hide anything and told him everything she knew. The heavenly court is a colossal existence in the holy world. Although it's not the strongest, it's not easy to provoke it. As for the heavenly emperor Hao Tian, I really don't know what cultivation level he's at. However, I know that he hasn't reached the Dao integration stage. As for the power of the heavenly court, if my Hua clan can use everything we have, we might be able to completely uproot the heavenly court from holy world. At this moment, when talking about the Hua clan, Hua Yuan couldn't help but show an arrogant expression. All right, you didn't say anything at all. At this moment, Lin Ray no longer prayed that Hua Yuan could tell him the cultivation level of the various forces in the holy world, because she didn't know. Seeing that she was useless, he waved his hand and broke the array around them. Chu Si, let's go. All right. Chu Si, who had been waiting, responded immediately when she heard Lin Ray's words. She followed behind Lin Ray and was about to leave. However, just as he reached the door, he thought of the 9 revolutions mixed energy pill that he had refined. He turned his head and said to Hua Yuan, although I didn't get the answer I wanted from you, I still have to thank you. Swoosh, after saying that, Lin Ray waved his hand and a ray of light instantly shot out and landed in front of Hua Yuan. A 9 revolutions mixed energy pill with 10 pill patterns landed in the air and floated there. How interesting. Looking at the pill and looking at the door and Lin Ray, who had left, Hua Yuan smiled and reached out her hand to grab the pill. In a flash, she left the Alchemy Guild. At this moment, before the crowd could react, Lin Ray, Hua Yuan, and Chu Si had disappeared in front of their eyes. As for Zhuge Ho, when Linley was about to leave, he came back to his senses and followed closely behind. A farce for Lin Ray ended happily just like that. Seeing that the 3 most important people had left, it was useless for the crowd to stay. In the end, they all left separately. As the saying goes, everyone should go back to their own homes and find their own mothers. Chapter 742. Zhuge Ho returned to the restaurant with Lin Ray and saw Zhuge Mingwei forging a supreme quality god artifact for him. At this moment, Lin Ray looked at Chu Si on the way back and smiled. How was it? What do you think of today's competition? Yeah, it was all right. The others were all right, but I never thought that woman would be on the same level as you, young master. Moreover, she's so young, Chu Si said with some disappointment. Lin Ray smiled when he sensed the disappointment in Chu Si's voice. He explained, actually, you don't have to worry too much about it. I should have known. That woman is no ordinary person. She come from a large clan in the Saint's world. What? The Saint's world? Chu Si was shocked. His eyes widened in shock. He never thought that the woman would actually be from the Saint's world. At that moment, he immediately calmed down. After all, she was from the Saint's world. Just her insight was extraordinary, let alone the fact that she was from a large clan. Humph. Useless. Sensing that the hint of defiance in Chu Si's eyes had disappeared, Linley immediately began to berate her. Young master, so what if she's from the Saint's world? Is being born in the Saint's world any different from you? It's just that her background is better. If you were born in the Saint's world, you'd probably be the same. So don't lower your own prestige. How am I supposed to take you to the Saint's world if that's the case? Isn't that just showing my eye for people? With that, Lin Ray shook his head and said nothing more. Afterwards, he sped up and made his way back to where he lived. However, after being scolded by Lin Ray, he immediately came to his senses. He felt enlightened. That's right. So what if she's from the Saint's world? As long as I work hard, the people of the Saint's world will still be trampled under my feet. With that, his confidence returned. He sped up and caught up to Lin Ray. At this moment, not far from Lin Ray's voice, Zhuge Ho finally saw the figures of Lin Ray and Lin Feng. Then, his face lit up with joy, and he hurriedly sped up. In the blink of an eye, he arrived beside Lin Ray. With an awkward expression, he cupped his hands and interrupted, "Fellow cultivator Lin Ray, I'm really sorry to disturb you." Hearing someone call him, Lin Ray was stunned. He immediately released his divine sense. When he saw Zhuge Ho beside him, he suddenly remembered that he had promised to help him refine a supreme-grade divine artifact. More importantly, Zhuge Mingwei was still in the restaurant. Previously, he had captured her purely out of interest. Of course, more importantly, he hoped to befriend her. Once he came out of the ancient corpse trove, he would immediately begin the matter of the Talisman Grandmaster. Looking at Zhuge Ho, Linley slapped his forehead, a look of embarrassment on his face. He hurriedly apologized. "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I was so focused on hurrying back that I forgot about fellow Taoist Zhuge. Fellow Taoist Lin, you must be joking." Seeing Lin Ray's reaction, Zhuge Ho hurriedly stopped him and said, "I'm sorry to disturb you, fellow Taoist Lin." "Haha, all right, let's not stand on ceremony. Let's hurry back. It's not that easy to refine supreme-grade spiritual energy. All right." The two of them looked at each other and nodded. Then, they sped up and headed back to their residence. On the way, when he was bored to death, Lin Ray asked Zhuge Ho about the type of weapon he needed. "By the way, fellow Taoist Zhuge, what kind of weapon do you like and what do you need? Since you have nothing to do, why don't you tell me about it?" Hearing this, Zhuge Ho's eyes lit up. Then, he told Suemo about the type of weapon he wanted. "I like a sword 2 fingers wide and 1.5 feet long. It would be best if it's a soft sword." Oh, hearing Zhuge Ho's request, Lin Ray was slightly surprised. He had never refined a soft sword before. Moreover, from what he knew, soft swords were usually used by women because it was easy to hide. Moreover, it was very useful for assassinations. Hearing that Zhuge Ho wanted to use such a weapon, Lin Ray was slightly puzzled. He did not understand why a man would use such a weapon. He had underestimated him. To be honest, the soft sword I mentioned is actually for my daughter to use. She has liked soft swords since she was young, and she likes the art of assassination, so..." Zhuge Ho said embarrassedly. Oh, hearing this, Linley finally understood that he had been mistaken. This was what was going on. "All right, I'll refine it for you." After saying that, Lin Ray did not say anything else. Since he had confirmed that it was a supreme-grade divine weapon, it would be easy to handle. After a while, the group returned to their residence. Just as Lin Ray returned to his residence, Xie Feng walked out of her room. "You're back." Looking at Lin Ray, Xie Feng said indifferently. Lin Ray nodded and said to Xie Feng, "Well, release the woman I caught the other day. I'll refine a supreme-grade divine weapon." After saying that, Lin Ray went back to his room. The evil phoenix, upon hearing Linley's words, felt very unhappy but in its heart, it still did as it was told. She turned around and went back to her room. When she came out, there was a woman beside her. It was Zhuge Mingwei. Mingwei? At this moment, Zhuge Ho noticed the woman behind Xiefeng. At first glance, who else could it be but his daughter? Father. Zhuge Mingwei, who had just stepped out of the room, was complaining in her heart when she heard a familiar voice. She immediately looked up and saw her father, Zhuge Ho. Immediately, she ran to his side excitedly and hung herself on him. At this moment, Zhuge Mingwei, who was lying in her father's arms, thought of Lin Rei and said cutely, "Father, I was bullied. That person kidnapped me and tied me up for a long time. Oh, who dares to touch me, Zhuge?" Just as Zhuge Ho was about to say something, he remembered that his daughter seemed to have been released by Linli. For a moment, the aura that he had just built up was like a deflated balloon at this moment, falling limp. Sensing that something was wrong with her father, Zhuge Mingwei jumped down. When she saw her father's helpless expression, she knew that there was something fishy going on. "Father, what's going on?" Sigh. Looking at his daughter, Zhuge Ho said helplessly, "Mingwei, it's not that I don't want to avenge you. It's just that we can't touch that person. Not to mention your father. Even your grandfather wouldn't be able to touch the person who kidnapped you." What? Zhuge Mingwei was shocked. She knew that her grandfather was an expert in the early ultimate god realm. However, her father said that he was no match for Lin Rei. How could she not be shocked? Yes, we can't afford to offend this person. Moreover, he's helping me to forge a supreme grade sacred weapon. Tell me, how can we touch such a person? Moreover, just now he used his identity as an honorable grade alchemist to compete with another honorable grade alchemist in the alchemy conference. He won in the end. Moreover, according to my observation, he knows how to use formations. If I'm not wrong, the level of his formations is probably similar to the level of his weapon forging and pill refining. At this moment, when she heard that Lin Rei had so many shocking skills, she couldn't help but click her tongue. If he's really that good, not to mention the Sword Sect, even you guys won't be his match. At this moment, her desire to seek revenge completely disappeared because it was impossible. She probably wouldn't be able to do it in this lifetime. At this moment, in his room, Linli took out his trump card. From his storage ring, he took out some top-grade equipment. Finally, from his storage ring, he took out a piece of violet gold soft iron. Linli had been reluctant to use this item. He did not expect that, because of a promise, he would use it now. Coincidentally, Zhuge Ho wanted to use the software, and the purple gold soft iron was suitable to forge a soft sword. Therefore, in the end, Lin Rei could only reluctantly give it up and forge it. Boom! The illusory spirit blood fire appeared instantly. After all, after forging the divine artifact, he had to go into seclusion to treat his eyes. That was the most important thing. Whoosh! Lin Rei controlled the purple gold soft iron and instantly threw it into the illusory spirit blood fire to smelt it. Puff! The moment the purple gold soft iron entered the illusory spirit blood fire, it showed signs of melting. This was the difference between the purple gold soft iron and the purple gold meteoric iron. The purple gold soft iron was particularly good at melting, while the purple gold soft iron was very easy to melt. However, the two iron ores were indeed of the same level. However, if it were an ordinary person, they would choose the purple gold meteoric iron instead of the purple gold soft iron because the soft iron was not very useful. However, the purple gold meteoric iron was different because it could enhance the offensive power of the divine artifact. After watching the purple gold soft iron melt little by little, Lin Rei took out a mass of purple molten iron and put it in a special container. Oh, the master has melted. Let's go crazy. The purple gold soft iron was the backbone of the software. Now that the backbone had been refined, the rest would be easy. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, more than 20 iron ores on the ground were all thrown into the illusory spirit blood fire by Lin Rei and began to melt. At this moment, Lin Rei used all his strength. The temperature of the illusory spirit blood fire was getting hotter and hotter, so much so that the whole house was about to collapse. My cultivation is still too low. As for the strange state of the house, Lindley blamed it all on his low level of cultivation. If anyone else heard this, they would definitely be so angry that they would chase him down with a machete and hack him down the streets. In just a short period of 2,000 to 3,000 years, an ordinary person like you had cultivated to the Emperor God realm. Even the heavens' pride in the holy world would not be able to compare with this cultivation speed. Even so, Lin Ray still felt that his cultivation was too low. This was really not leaving him any way out. Time passed by slowly. In the blink of an eye, a day had passed. The iron ores in the fire showed signs of melting. Seeing this, Lin Ray smiled. It's finally melted. As long as it melts, it will be soon. After saying that, the fire became stronger. Asterisk Kong. Asterisk at this moment, outside the room, Zhuge He was still waiting. He did not dare to take half a step away. After all, this was for him. Sigh. It would be great if such a genius could be my son-in-law. That's enough. Thinking of this, Zhuge He could not help but smile at Xiefeng. Then, a disappointed expression appeared on his face. The alchemy conference was completely disbanded. When the sects returned to their own sects, they spread the news of what happened at the alchemy conference. Some people even added oil to the fire. Suddenly, the hottest topic in the inner layer of the divine world was the alchemy competition between Lin Ray and another mysterious woman. Whether it was eating, strolling on the streets, or going to the martial arts arena, everyone was talking about Lin Ray. Suddenly, Lin Ray became the focal point of the entire divine world. Of course, people were not afraid of fame. Pigs were not afraid of being fat. Ever since the news of Lin Ray's strength spread, some people were not convinced. In the end, they gathered in Xiong City to challenge Lin Ray and become famous. Lin Ray, who was refining the divine weapon, did not know about all this. Of course, even if he knew, he would just laugh it off. At the very least, he would kill all those who came to challenge him as a warning to others. At this time, more than 10 days had passed. In the room, Lin Ray, who was sitting cross-legged, smiled. Finally, all of you have turned into molten iron. Looking at the molten iron in the fire, he found a special container and put the molten iron in. Phew! After doing all this, Lin Ray breathed a sigh of relief. However, he immediately tensed up again. After all, the next step was the final refining. Thinking about the style of the divine weapon that Zhuge He wanted, spiritual energy rushed out of his body and formed a sword embryo. This sword embryo was made strictly according to Zhuge He's requirements. Everything was ready except for the east wind. Seeing that the sword embryo was ready, he poured the molten iron into the sword embryo according to the order in his heart. Each and every one of these materials could cause a bloodbath in the divine world. Thinking about it, Lin Ray felt that he had suffered a great loss. However, as a person, honesty was the most important thing. Since he had promised, he had to do it. Watching as the long sword slowly took shape, Lindley took out some liquid violet gold soft iron, then applied a layer of seal to it. 10,000 hammers smelting heavenly art. Merge. With a loud shout, he activated the forging technique. Lindley's palms clenched into fists, and then one punch after another landed on the long sword within the embryonic form. Pong, 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 pong. That tapping sound caused Lindley to feel a hint of joy in his heart. At the same time, Lin Ray could feel that his spiritual energy and other aspects were slowly improving. Following which, a series of knocking sounds reverberated throughout the entire room. Spirit gathering array, merge. In the instant that Lindley hammered the long sword, one formation after another was imprinted onto the long sword by Lindley's hammering technique. Divine flame pattern, blade pattern. Chapter 743. One by one, the honorable level formations and runes were fused into the flexible sword by Lin Ray at the fastest speed possible. Of course, even though they were honorable level runes and formations, most of them were small and simple, unlike the Sect protection formation. After all, this was just refining a weapon, and the flexible sword couldn't withstand the support of the startling formation. Time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed. During this period, Lin Ray's mental state had been at its most tense. Moreover, during this period of time, he had been fusing formations, runes, and refining weapons. Even an honorable level cultivator couldn't withstand it. At this moment, Lin Ray's face was pale and his breathing was weak, as if he would faint at any moment. It was worrying. Phew! Soon, feeling that the weapon was about to be completed, Lin Ray was delighted. To be honest, if not counting the worldly splendor, this was his first time refining a supreme-grade weapon in the truest sense of the word. Moreover, he pursued perfection too much. Therefore, it was inevitable that he would expend a lot of energy. Of course, outside, Zhuge Hou and the rest, including Xie Feng, had been waiting. After not seeing Lin Ray for such a long time, Xie Feng was very anxious. This was the first time that he had taken so long to refine a weapon. Weapon complete. Finally, at this moment, after the last formation was engraved on the flexible sword, the supreme grade weapon was finally completed. Huff, huff, huff. At this moment, the originally clear sky was blown by a strong wind. Vaguely, everyone could feel a trace of the pressure of heaven and earth in the wind. Although it was very faint, but everyone present was a powerful cultivator. How could they not be able to receive it? Rumble. Rumble. Suddenly, the originally clear blue sky suddenly lost its color. One black cloud after another began to gather from every direction. Finally, with Linley's room at the center, it began to disperse in every direction. The sound of rolling thunder reached everyone's ears at this moment. At the same time, the pressure of heaven and earth instantly pressed down, crushing everyone's bodies. Cultivators below, Sir Godfan, were all suppressed by the pressure of heaven and earth at this moment, without exception. Hiss! At this moment, outside the door, Zhuge Hou could feel the thunderclouds in the sky. Immediately, he looked at Lin Ray's room with a burning gaze. At this moment, combined with the sudden change in the environment and the thunderclouds in the sky, the only thing he could think of was the completion of the divine weapon, the heaven and earth lightning tribulation. Apart from the baptism of the lightning tribulation and tempering oneself, there were also heaven-defying formations, talismans, pills, and heaven-shaking divine artifacts. Looking at the lightning tribulation above his head, apart from Lin Ray's divine tool, he couldn't think of anyone else who could transcend lightning tribulation here, or any other kind of lightning tribulation. Looks like it's done. At the side, Xie Feng felt the lightning tribulation rolling in the sky and the shocking pressure of heaven and earth. She was not surprised at all. The corner of her mouth curled up slightly, revealing a relieved smile. She said, "This kid always brings surprises." Previously, he was only upgrading the divine tool's realm based on the original foundation. Now, he's even refined a supreme divine consciousness. Looks like it won't be long before he can refine a sacred weapon. Sacred weapons are also known as acquired absolute treasures and innate absolute treasures. However, the difference is that innate absolute treasures are created by heaven and earth. They're extremely powerful and carry the power of heaven and earth. Acquired absolute treasures are refined by heaven and earth. Although they're also very powerful, they can only run for their lives if they encounter innate absolute treasures. At this moment, the appearance of the lightning tribulation had alarmed all the powerful cultivators in Xiong City, including the people in charge of guarding the major sections. At this moment, experts from all directions gathered towards the thunderclouds in a frenzy. They were curious about who was undergoing the lightning tribulation here. After all, the 99 heavenly tribulations would only happen when one broke through to the ultimate God realm. Everyone was curious and vigilant at the same time. After all, if an ultimate God appeared in one of the sects, it would be a potential threat to their sections. However, they did not know that this was not the 99 heavenly tribulations, but the supreme divine weapon refined by Lin Ray. Because of its heaven-defying power, the heavens and earth did not allow it to exist. Therefore, the lightning tribulation descended to destroy it. Lin Ray, who was in the room, did not care about what was happening in the outside world. At this moment, Lin Ray stood up and looked at the floating flexible sword with his divine consciousness. It was as thin as a cicada's wing and was extremely soft. The design was exquisite and it was very attractive. At the same time, the suppressive might of the flexible sword, as well as a soul-piercing sword aura, rose into the air. If it hadn't been for the fact that Linley had set up a formation prior to the forging process, most likely the entire room would have been destroyed by the sword aura emanating from a sword. Sensing the terrifying sword chi, even Linley, the person who had forged it, was shocked. This was something he had not expected. He had not expected this weapon to be so powerful. Of course, such a powerful sword chi was not worth mentioning to him. After all, he was not only a cultivator, but also a body cultivator. His body was strong and unparalleled. His body alone was enough to fight against a mid-ultimate god expert. Lin Ray did not care about the sword chi emitted by the long sword. However, at this moment, a few words appeared on the hilt of the sword. Lin Ray knew that he was the one who refined the sword, but he did not leave his name on it. The only thing Linley could think of was that this top-grade divine artifact had already gained sentience, and the heavens and the earth itself had been born. When he thought of this, Linley felt a surge of excitement. If that was the case, then his sword could be considered as an acquired divine weapon. The three words "purple Qilin sword" made Lin Ray happy. He could feel the excitement coming out of the sword. He could feel the excitement of the heavens' retribution outside. All right, since you want to go through the heavens' retribution yourself, then go ahead. Let me see how powerful your purple Qilin sword is. Lin Ray understood the meaning of a long sword. He did not stop it and immediately agreed. With a wave of his hand, he removed the formation that was protecting the room. Whoosh! The moment the formation was removed, the purple Qilin sword could not help but break through the room and soar into the sky. At this moment, the people who were waiting outside naturally saw the purple light that rushed out of the room. However, the speed of the purple light was too fast, and no one saw it clearly. However, when the purple light rushed into the air and stopped in midair, everyone was shocked. This was because it was not a person standing in midair, but a long sword. At the same time, because Lin Ray's formation was no longer controlling it, the shocking sword chi rushed out of the sword and towards the thunderclouds in the sky. This was a provocation, a blatant provocation. It was as if it was saying, "Hit me, hit me." Feeling the shocking sword chi, everyone was shocked. However, they also knew that this was an item without an owner. This was because an item that could go through the heavens' retribution must have just been made. The owner had not had time to make it. At this moment, when Zhuge Ho saw the long sword in the sky, his breathing quickened and his eyes were filled with shock. Supreme divine weapon. It's really a supreme divine weapon. At this moment, he believed. He was completely convinced by Lin Ray. Before he had seen the long sword, he had been suspicious and curious as to whether or not Linley would be able to forge a top-grade divine artifact. But now, he was completely convinced. At the same time, their respect for Linley was as endless as the waters of the Yellow River. Their admiration for Linley was indescribable. Kacha! At this moment, the heavens' retribution felt the provocation of a long sword and was instantly enraged. It originally wanted to destroy the long sword, but now that it was provoking it, the heavens' retribution could not ignore it. Suddenly, a lightning whip as thick as an arm rushed towards the purple Qilin sword. It was extremely fast and powerful. At this moment, everyone was filled with worry. This was because everyone thought that when a divine weapon went through the heavens' retribution, there would usually be a weapon refiner by its side to help it through the heavens' retribution. But now, Everyone only saw the long sword and did not see the weapon refiner. This made everyone worried. At the same time, they felt sorry for the divine weapon that was resisting the heaven's retribution. Of course, this included Zhuge. He wanted to rush up to help the sword, but he knew that if he did, the heaven's retribution would increase by several times. This way, the long sword would be in even more danger. In the end, his impulse was suppressed. He could only stay on the ground and look at the long sword in the sky while praying silently in his heart. Whoosh! Just as the lightning whip was about to collide with the long sword, the crowd could not bear to watch and instinctively closed their eyes. At this moment, they felt the power of the lightning whip. The purple Qilin's sword trembled, and a shocking sword aura rushed out. Finally, the sword aura turned into a gigantic sword and collided with the lightning whip. Kacha! A strange sound was heard. The moment the gigantic sword aura collided with the lightning whip did not resist at all and instantly shattered into pieces. Then it dissipated into the air. Ah, good. Strong indeed. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was in the room, spied on the situation in the sky through the giant hole above his head. When he saw that Lin Rei's first heaven's retribution was easily blocked by the purple Qilin sword, he was relieved. After all, a divine weapon's retribution was not like a cultivator's retribution. A divine weapon's retribution only had 4 bolts of retribution, but a supreme god's retribution had 81 bolts of retribution. That was no joke. If one was not careful, the final result would be a body smashed to pieces, and not even a corpse would be left behind. Even if one's soul could enter the cycle of reincarnation. No, it could not be guaranteed that one's soul would remain in this world. When he saw the gigantic sword aura emitted by the purple Qilin sword, he knew that this level of heaven's retribution was useless against it. Relieved, Linley straightened out his clothes, then opened the door and walked out. However, the divine weapon that was refined this time is very strong. It can fight on its own and even release such a terrifying sword aura. TSK. Kid, you've improved on the path of craftsmanship. Linley didn't know where he had come from, but as soon as he stepped out of his room, a red-robed demonic phoenix appeared in front of him and spoke out in praise. Why don't you take a look at who refined it? Lin Rei was already used to Xie Feng's appearance. After all, her appearance was similar to that of the little dragon. Therefore, Lin Rei was not too surprised. Fisk, cocky fart. Seeing Lin Rei's narcissism, Xie Feng rolled her eyes at him and let him understand the meaning behind her words. Boom! Kacha! Just as Lin Rei and Xie Feng finished their conversation, the lightning whip appeared again. However, this time, it was 3 to 4 times stronger than before. It was as thick as Lin Rei's waist. Wang, feeling the power of the heaven's retribution, the purple Qilin sword shook and a gigantic sword aura appeared. Whoosh! At this moment, without waiting for the heaven's retribution to act, the gigantic sword aura moved first. The gigantic sword aura disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. When it reappeared, it was right in front of the heaven's retribution. Then, without hesitation, it pierced the heaven's retribution towards the heaven's retribution without any hesitation. Kacha! Kacha! The same scene happened again. The second heaven's retribution was dispersed by the gigantic sword. However, the gigantic sword did not disappear because of the disappearance of the second heaven's retribution. Instead, its aura disappeared and it rushed towards the heaven's retribution. At the same time, Lin Rei felt the purple Qilin sword's actions. Instantly, his face changed and he knew something was wrong. If it was a normal heaven's retribution, it would be fine. However, if the sword aura rushed into the heaven's retribution and caused the heaven's retribution to dissipate prematurely, what awaited was an even more terrifying heaven's retribution. While thinking of this, Lin Rei did not stop. In the next moment, his body disappeared from the spot. At this moment, he knew the purple Qilin sword's intention. Immediately, he rushed towards the sky at his fastest speed, wanting to stop it. But it seemed like it was too late. The gigantic sword aura rushed towards the heaven's retribution. Suddenly, rays of purple light came down from the heaven's retribution. Boom! CK shit. Feeling the heaven's retribution disappear, he knew that it was too late. Thinking of the powerful heaven's retribution, Lin Ray felt helpless. He did not expect the sword to act so recklessly. But at the same time, he was shocked by the sword's recklessness. One had to know that a legendary weapon could not fight on its own, let alone disperse the heaven's retribution. With pride in his heart, Lin Ray sensed that the heaven's retribution was dispersing. Immediately, he appeared in front of the purple Qilin sword in a flash and grabbed it in his hand. Then, he turned around and rushed towards Xiefeng. Sigh, what a troublemaker. It's fine if he's a troublemaker, but I didn't expect that the legendary weapon he created would be so troublesome as well. Looking at Lin Ray flying towards her, she understood what he meant. She smiled helplessly and disappeared. When she reappeared, she was already in front of Lin Ray. Looking at him, Xiefeng rolled her eyes and said, "If you create such a reckless weapon again, I can destroy it without the heaven's retribution." Whoosh! With that, Xiefeng disappeared in front of Lin Ray again. At this time, hearing Xiefeng's words, Lin Ray shrugged his shoulders and flew towards the ground. Sure enough, the moment Lin Ray landed safely on the ground, the dissipating heaven's retribution gathered again. But the difference was that the heaven's retribution was blood red. Rumble that you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.